Start that.
Closer to the center.
All right, good evening. This is a special meeting of the Old Line Zoning Commission. Today is Monday, October the 20th. We have this evening, we have our land use coordinator, Eric Knapp. We have Mary Gardner Coppola. Alternate, we have Michael Fogliano, full-time. Denise Savageau, our full-time member. Madam Secretary, full-time. Jane Marsh, alternate Michael Peter Barnes.
I am full-time Jane Marsh.
What?
I am Jane Marsh, full-time.
Full-time. Or full-time Jane Marsh.
Full-time Jane
I like Madam Secretary, it's right to the point. And then we also have Mary Jo Nozel, our scribe, Amy Watt, and myself, Paul Orzel. First order of business, meeting till 9:30 is too late. So I would entertain a motion that
You don't even
the
need a motion.
latest, we don't need a motion? Okay, we're quitting no later than 9. If we quit at 8:30, or that's fine too. But
Sure.
anyways, that's where we're gonna go. 9:30 is too late this time of day.
saw the word markup. It took me just like.
Okay, so we're gonna continue with reviewing the regulations. But one of the things that we left on the table at the regular meeting was how we were going to make contact with the other boards and commissions. Are we still leaving that on the table for now and just going into the regulations, or? I would think go ahead.
Well, I think Michael Barnes and I were suggesting that this is going to be an ongoing discussion, and so it could be worthwhile to, we don't have to solve everything now, but
Okay.
to be kind of addressing an aspect, have that almost be a standing agenda item for every time we come together,
Okay.
because it's going to be a constant effort. It's not going to be a one-off.
Did your letter get sent out?
Yes,
Yep, it got sent out, and Martha, it's on the website. So Eric and Craig created a section of the website that's specific to the zoning regulations update, so it's there as
Did you
well.
get any responses yet?
I have not. Actually, I think that's not true. When it first went up, I got two different responses from two different commissions, just sort of checking in to see where we were with all of this. But since it first went up, it's been sort of quiet since then. But we haven't been sort of reposting stuff on the front page. So unless we sort of keep at it and keep getting people noticed, it's going to sort of drop off the
The
headlines.
zoning
again.
commission's not really very sexy.
I don't know, Jane, I mean,
Well, I just had an angry call today about the fact that we changed the regulations last September to amend the mortuary definition or mortuary requirements. So you can see how quickly people take up on this stuff.
I
So-
get it.
so I think, Jane, that's a good point, is that, not the sexy part, but kind of. So let's make zoning sexy, I guess. But no, in all seriousness, to kind of keep having to put more information out there. Back when I was in the government, we used to say, tell people what you want them to know, remind them that you told them, and then tell them again that you reminded them. And and I think that's I think that's just kind of the reality, and that's understandable under the circumstances
There's
as
too
well.
much information
Yeah.
out there. Competition for eyeballs is
Yeah.
intense.
And this is a lot, so to dump everything on everybody at the end would be not advantageous to us, our work either, I don't think.
So when the letter went out, did it go just to the chairs or did it go to all the commission
It
members?
went just to the chairs, but it also, again, it was a little blast on the website and there was a whole webpage created for it. And it was up for the chairs to distribute it. I mean, the truth is, if I had to send it to each and every commission member, that would have been hundreds, or at least 100 or so. So we sent it to probably a good 20 commission chairs and said, please distribute it to your members, and that's about as good as we were going to get. Again, I can sort of follow up with them to say, just reminding you, this is going forward, and please get back to us with your thoughts, and please let your members know that we're looking for input. So I can keep sort of pestering them and making sure that they have sort of constant.
Did it go out hard copy or was it?
It was
email?
emailed. It was
Yeah.
emailed around.
And and Martha included a link to the information on the website in one of her weekly newsletters to the town. But Eric, I also want to be respectful of your time. I think any kind of communications plan, it's not that hard to just sit down and up front put together a steady stream of material that you can then just kind of pick from and drop out. But because I also think if we run the risk of, if we're just constantly saying, don't forget we're doing this, don't forget we're doing this, people are going to start ignoring it. So there has to be a reason we're
Yeah.
reaching out to people.
I think once we start with the more substantive stuff, there
Yeah.
will be more interest.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I will be honest, my internal sort of clock or schedule of this is to have a public hearing for this in January. And while it's October now, you think January's a long way away, if I'm gonna get the referrals out so that we can have this all back in time to have the public hearing starting in January, we need to sort of make sure that we get this wrapped up relatively quickly so we can make that happen. Because even if we start it in January, I'm guessing it's gonna be continued through February, which means it's effective in March. And that already puts us basically losing the first third of the year, quarter of the year, before we even really get into the meat of the second phase of this. So I'm trying to make sure that we're on a pace to keep moving and we don't lose momentum on it, so.
I think,
Oh, sorry, one thing I wanna comment is, substantive, I feel that any change in here is substantive.
Yeah,
I'm kind of bothered by the fact that, not bothered, but I don't know the proper way to define it, but, and if there's new definitions, new terminology, and a new format, that's substantive. That to me is very important all through the whole entire process. My concern is the public still doesn't know, they know, but they don't really know what even the small changes that we're looking at and making right now. And that-
well, we laid that out, but and what we also discussed at a previous meeting, we did lay out exactly what we're working on right now. And we also discussed at a previous meeting, I think Jane was the one who made the point that like to have the public be weighing in on each of those things while we're doing it could just drag this on for quite a long time. Then to be more efficient, it's wait until we have all those done before we give them the entirety of it. I don't want to speak.
No,
for Jane.
I understand what you're saying, but in the process, like sometimes it takes people time
Yeah.
to digest what's actually
So
in here,
what
right?
is your recommendation?
My
I hear you.
recommendation is I just don't know if there's any, if we're not seeking release, like this should be in Limelight, it should be.
It will be.
It-
yeah.
And it has been, but what I would like to say is what I think to address what Mary Gardner's point is, the faster we finish with what we think should happen,
Yep,
the faster I can get the final
Out to the
stage
public.
one
Out to
out
the
there
public.
and say, public hearing in January, please take the rest of this
Okay.
year to look at this and
Yes.
and think about what you wanna say,
okay.
okay?
Oh, yeah, because I think you were thinking we're going to release it in January and then have a public hearing right away. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah, well, like my concern that
Oh,
the release
yeah,
of this
yeah,
would be
yeah.
at the public hearing.
No,
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 no.
Like,
That's a fair concern.
And probably a piece of information that should go out with that is an executive summary of here are the major changes that
Correct.
we should go through. At least they would then have an idea as to what this is about.
absolutely. My guess, the last thing I'm gonna talk about is just the ability to not only put this on the town website. Like I feel the town website is too relied upon to be the single source of data to the community.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I get that, I mean, I'm also happy to like have copies of this at the library for people who wanna look at it there.
Well,
Yeah, no, I'm more just
no.
about notifications.
so we took that. That's
We
how
talked
we
about that
ended.
last time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
ended the last
Right.
meeting, and so everyone kind of took back of like we're going to think about ways we could do it. So did you have any suggestions
Well,
for
I do
besides?
think that Facebook is your best opportunity
Right,
to
and
reach
then
the
I was
masses.
gonna
Okay.
get some kind of feedback that I was gonna go back.
Yeah, I know, I'm not saying
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we want to
waiting.
post it on Facebook.
yeah, but,
But for
so
Facebook,
I
they'll give a
think,
notification that there's something new, but
And-
the authoritative source of the actual content is.
that,
gonna
it
be-
has to send you to the tab, to the website.
Yeah.
Right,
Correct.
You have to have
Okay.
one landing page.
Yeah, one,
That's right.
one
But there
authoritative
actually could be a
source.
downloadable link to this on the post itself.
Yeah, if it's a PDF, you can download it.
Sure.
but
Just
I
as
would
long as
like
you're not
to
duplicating stuff
recommend
in two
going
different
forward for
repositories.
the next phase is that
Presented
we
version.
decide, we set up what our schedule is gonna be for everything, so that when we do put it out for the public to come in and for workshopping and stuff, they know what section of the document they're going to be looking at.
It's a good idea.
So we stay on task.
Yeah.
And focus on whatever that area is for that particular workshop, and not get off tangent.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's similar to that is when you have a public hearing, There are ways to divide up the document. So there are ways, similar to the way that we have been going through it. So we could say, does anybody have any, like we'd like to hear from people who, if they have general comments, fine, you can start with that. But a lot of times it's really good to say, does anybody have any problems with any of the new definitions? So then you have everybody talk about new definitions, and then you and you can kind of divide it off by sections. So that people can come up and talk about that, and we can hear it in order, and it makes it that people go like, oh, okay, it makes it more orderly. I know we've done something like that, the previous town I was in, it was like, and it just set it up so that people were like, oh, they knew what they were commenting on, and it was like, we're gonna be commenting on this in some type of order.
Right.
It just gives it,
Yeah.
It gives the public hearing a little bit of a structure.
Right.
Than jumping all over the place.
With a bit of a preamble as to what this is about.
Yeah.
And Francisco should have some context from what they did in Stonington, how they did what there,
Right.
what worked, what
Right.
didn't, so maybe we can learn some
It's
lessons.
a wealth
from
of
that.
information, yeah.
Okay.
Question. Who's seated? Is
I think we're all here, so none of the alternates.
Michael
Miller.
Miller. So who did we, is it Mr. Barnes again?
It's back to Mr. Barnes, but
Mr.
again, we're not
Barnes.
taking any votes, so it's not, there's no
If-
real.
I don't know, adjourn is a heavy
Adjourn.
thing.
Mr. Barnes is seated as a voting member
Okay.
if we take a vote.
okay.
So, I mean, when it comes to motion to adjourn, I'm not really sure it's gonna matter who's seated for motion to adjourn, if that be
Yeah, I was
over
just
that.
thinking the same
I
thing.
have a hard time
Alright.
getting a second and a vote on that one. Everybody feels papers
Fair.
going out the door.
If it comes down to it, we'll worry about that.
Yeah.
You can just,
Okay.
you can just adjourn meeting, if you have a motion.
So,
All right. Well, for the meeting minutes, I'm showing that he's seated. Is
Yes,
that-
yep.
Okay.
okay.
Mr. Barnes, Mr. Miller is absent.
So, Facebook, and then what else?
Limelight, CT Examiner, anyone's a local source for news today.
But the Facebook would be, we would put out there because it would
Yes.
The
be
town would
the
put it
town,
out.
yeah, the
Yeah, the
town.
town of
And
Old
so-
Lyme's Facebook page.
Right, and so I'm just saying, so for Limelight and Connecticut Examiner, what would be the,
We don't get to tell them.
yeah.
No, they pick up the news. We don't.
So we
tell
would
them.
have to just,
No, but if it's a public broadcast information.
Well,
you say, hey,
we're gonna
you
have a
guys
public
want-
notice.
Oh,
for
yeah,
the public
right, it's a
notice,
public
yeah,
notice.
that's good for the public notice.
Right.
I think
But I
there's,
mean,
Yeah, but the public notice for us gets put in the day.
But also, I mean, I certainly am comfortable calling Elizabeth Regan and just saying, hey, we're looking to try and get publicity out there on this.
For sure.
Do you
Hey,
want?
You can do a little
Or
press
you do a press
release.
release and you
Do a
can throw
press
a word in
release,
it.
yeah.
oh, that's even better.
Yeah, you do a press release, everybody gets it, and then if
Yeah.
not, you're,
One shot.
one
Yeah.
shot,
They
everybody
pick it
gets
up, they
it.
pick it up. If not,
Anything else, any other, so that's for a combination, I think, focusing on the public hearing, announcing the public hearing, but, Mary Jo's point is about, kind of more of this, also this steady drip of information. So ideas for the steady drip of information, does anybody kind of
In
thought
terms
that?
of on this first part or the second part? 'Cause I think getting into the idea of starting to have workshops and whatever, we could kind of intersperse that with starting the public hearing on this, but let people know that, this is the technical review. Now, but stay tuned for, you could do that in a press release as well. So I think having a series of press releases that kind of get into that, and especially once we set dates. I mean, I think once, it's a little early now, but people's agendas fill up really quickly. Once we're, comfortable with this and we know we're going to go to public hearing, I mean, it may be that we still have work to do a little bit on it, but we could still start thinking about when we're going to start those,
Yeah,
the charrettes and the,
Well, you're definitely gonna have changes, right? Because when the public hearing is gonna be the first time for people to have the input. To me, I think the public
Yeah.
hearing is an important process.
I mean,
But that's for the.
And do you
first-
see Francisco
Yeah.
leading the public hearings?
well, no, I mean, certainly having him around would be helpful, but this is, I mean, there are regs, so we're gonna, I see us being in charge of sort of managing our own. As far as the charrettes and all those sorts of things, we've budgeted for 2 or 3 of them or whatever that he can be at. The rest we're gonna probably be doing on our own. So, yeah, I think that having his presence there to help explain how he came up with things will be helpful. But I'm not sure having him as sort of running the organizational piece of that is gonna be helpful. That's not really why we hired him or his skill set, I don't think.
He doesn't have to run it, and to your point, Mr. Barnes, you're gonna have a public hearing, and you're gonna bring back comments that the public might have. But then that comes back to here. Then we have to talk about it and see how we wanna either include it or not include it or amend it or something else.
Correct.
So just because it comes out of public hearing, it's not golden, it's not
No, I
automatic.
know that, yeah, that's
Right.
right, I just wanna make sure that.
Right, but it's collected, we'll have somebody scribing, you
Get
know?
prepared, because it's random. You
Right.
can try to plan this all you want.
And-
Right.
Right, they'll stay still.
We're gonna
People
get
don't have
random
that kind of
comments, and then
time to
we
say,
have-
oh, well,
we have
I'll
to
bring
go
my
through all
comment
this.
on this day and my comment.
Well, I meant one public hearing, but I just was saying if you can kind of go in order at the hearing.
They'll still wanna say.
No,
They'll still
absolutely.
want to
I
sign up.
anticipating 2 public hearings on this, just because,
Since
again,
they're not
I
used to it, I
suspect
guess
that
we were used to it.
there are people who couldn't be there in January, and the people who listened the first time will wanna come back the second time. So I'm
I feel
figuring
strongly, yeah.
that we will be definitely doing that then. And then if you want, we can have either that second night or a third night of just deliberations about what we wanna do based on what we've heard. I mean, the whole reason you have public comment is that you might change your mind about something based on a public comment.
Right.
So, just because we think we're finished with it, if the public brings up a good point, or they all have concerns about a particular section, then absolutely, we're free to go back and say, oh, in light of the public comment, we're gonna make these changes.
Or we could revert back to original language and then take that up, because if we thought it was like, oh, wait, this is gonna take a lot of time, we can take care of it in the next process.
And in fact, you did do that.
You don't- you know.
You asked Francisco to put in original language on one section where you were unhappy with the language, and he went back and said, well, I don't think that's a great idea, but if that's where you wanna go, you put back in the original language, and then there you are. So, ultimately, these are your regs, I'm really trying to emphasize that you gotta take ownership of them. So, you have to be comfortable wherever this comes out, that you think that you've done what you want to do with them. Because the last time we did this was 2008. I don't know the next time we're going to do this. We may not all be here. So make sure that you take ownership of this so that we do have durable regs that are going to last for the next 15, 20 years. So.
And I think that that's a really good point. And like you said, so the reason I'm so concerned, I'll just let everybody know who doesn't understand or hasn't been informed, is that my property and my neighboring properties during the last regulation rewrite was effectively changed from commercial properties to residential properties. But people had commercial mortgages, like the vet hospital, like these were actual commercial businesses. But if they didn't read the newspaper on Thursday, the 26th, in the back of the day newspaper that day, they had no idea that their property was being changed.
Right, no,
So that's why I'm just keep voicing those concerns.
please
about
keep
making
voicing
sure
them, they're
because-
totally valid, and we have to, that's important to keep in
But I won't
mind.
keep beating the dead
What-
horse. I understand you guys
I
understand.
don't
those
mind that
sections.
aspect of it. I think what would also be helpful is, what are we gonna do about it, right?
Right.
Like, so that's an issue we've identified, so let's keep then moving the next
Yep.
step, which is what are we gonna do about it?
Right.
Because I think everybody here agrees with that.
I was
Well,
just
I
letting you
thought-
guys know that's
I
why I
don't
was
know.
so concerned.
So how about materials to
there'll
support
still be
the
somebody
public
who-
hearing? So,
something changes and they
10 or
won't.
12
Absolutely.
pages of PowerPoint that would just walk through the major categories of change, the ones that were clerical errors. We have tiers of change in here.
Right.
Some were just cleanup, immaterial. We have some that were driven by state or federal regulations that we need to come into
Right.
conformance with. We have some where we did make a material change, like
Maybe-
the commercial vehicle from 7,500 to 12.5, and there was a reason for that. So just to kind of bin them so that we're not wandering through the regs as written, line by line.
And we can
So-
eliminate all state and federal or whatever regs.
Yeah, because they're,
FEMA, that's a non-discussion point.
They have to-
They have to be in there, period.
and the
So-
cleanup things just validate that they were
Right,
cleaned correct.
that's all, yeah.
And
But
that's-
that's not really public hearing, that's, I mean,
So we should
yes,
get down
it's
to a
there, but it's
relatively
state, so.
small subset of what we've done that are material, but maybe below the threshold that would trigger the planning that's going to go on in phase 2.
And I think that's where Francisco could probably be helpful to us.
And that's where I think that's where we really want to make sure we get the word out, because the rest are
Yeah,
The curse is relatively
but I think we
straightforward.
need to acknowledge that there will be changes required by law that people are still gonna be upset about.
Right, we
Right.
just need to be prepared to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, people, when you say that we are eliminating minimum house size, there are people who are gonna be saying, whoa, I want minimum house size.
Well, take it to Hartford.
That's, so what you need to say, I'm sorry,
That's
but
where it is. It's a
that's-
state right.
That's where we are. So just be ready on that to say, I acknowledge your concern, but our hands on that one are kind of tied, so here we are, so.
But I
I
agree
think that could
that
help.
the
order and
consultant should help
smooth
us
Yes.
identify
He's,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I think that would be
category.
the 3 bins.
Yeah, okay,
So would Francisco be able to prepare that,
I think so, yeah, I think so.
so we have a clear guide?
I mean, obviously, he's already given you for tonight what has changed, right, so he has kept running tabs of everything that's been going on there, and I think he can pretty easily break this down into, this is what the law required, and here's the things that are substantive, and here are the
This
things
is
that
a
are.
typo, so we got a typo here, and we
Right.
got a change in bulk regs here, and those are two different things.
And then this is, again, as we are starting to put together our own repository of information on what we're doing, that's a document that we can then put on the website and that we can kind of pass out to communicate with people.
And let them digest that in advance,
Yeah,
before we pass.
yeah,
And not just hand that out. like we're-
I like that idea.
I think you might have to have some copies available at, like,
For
the
sure.
website,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
You know, because,
And yeah, as I said earlier, I'm happy to take a copy of this and leave it at the library, more than a copy at the library.
yeah, but I
We
think
should do
they'll
that.
probably come in more likely to town hall and whatever.
All
But if
of
you
you
tell
know-
them there's copies in the library, they'll go there. That could be in the press release.
What, I'm not saying
No,
you should
absolutely.
have copies in the library. too.
Everywhere, yeah, as
They
many
just-
different places as
he
want
needs to
copies,
print.
I will make sure that they have copies.
Yeah, well, there should be 5 or 6 copies for the public, just in different locations.
A set of people that we got very constructive comments from in 2008 were the local engineers.
I was gonna say that, yes.
So we made a special effort to make sure that they got copies of what we were doing, because they have a working knowledge of it and much more than the general public does.
And us as
How do,
commission members.
Maybe.
Jane, how does that work? How do we actually do it? But then, what are we allowed to do in terms of targeting specific people we want to weigh in?
Eric knows who all the usual faces
Yeah.
are.
And we're allowed to just reach out to them directly?
They have an association, so you don't.
Well,
Okay.
but it's not, I mean, there's no, you can't exclude groups, but there's no reason you can't target groups as well. I
Oh,
mean,
great, okay.
So, as long as you're not being discriminatory about who you're picking and choosing from, if you think there's a particular group that has expertise, then by all means, it's okay to send it to them and say, you guys use these every day, what do you think about them?
I like that.
And the outcome.
Do we have a
of those
mailing
were
list for people who want our public notices or whatever?
We do have a list of people who've asked to be notified about specific things. I don't think there's anybody who wants to be notified about everything we do, but there are people, under FOIA, you're allowed for a 1-year period to say, if anything comes up about a specific address, please contact me. And we do have that list.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we have anybody who says, please tell me anytime you do anything.
But sometimes, a lot of times, people do say things like, when you're changing the regs, I need to know, like land
Yeah.
use attorneys,
No, I understand.
engineers. So I didn't know if we had a list.
And then
Okay.
speaking, which at some point I do need to send this over to Matt Willis and say, we need to go look through this and make sure you as attorney with the commission are happy with it as well. Because he's the one that's to enforce this in the court of law if it ever comes down to it. So we're gonna need to get his review at some point as well.
Well, I think there's a lot of really good ideas in terms of capturing it, and again, in the interest of transparency and telling people what we're doing and then reminding them about it. Would it be useful to the other folks on the commission if we kind of put this together as a loose, I hesitate to call it strategy, but communications intention type thing? And, we kind of all look at that, then we can post the communications intention thing, but then that can, to your point, Mary Jo, kind of keep us on task of like what it is we said we were gonna be doing as we go along.
Makes sense.
So I'm happy to, I'm happy to kind of pull something together for the group. I'll send it to Eric for the group to look at.
To distribute.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then
Thank
if people have additional ideas after tonight's conversation, especially Michael on the how to, I agree with you, like how to get it out in social media.
It's just, yeah, if you're not.
Besides Facebook.
Yes. Not everybody goes to the town website. I don't know.
No.
You gotta do, Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, all the town social media. Cool.
Okay. All right. Should we review Francisco's comments back from our last effort? Have copies here?
I gave out copies to people who wanted them, last time, I didn't
I
read.
mean, the letter, I can
Oh,
look, I can do it.
the letter, I have maybe a couple copies, but not many. Yeah, I do actually, I had a bunch here, but Greg was very efficient. Okay, so,
We need a copy of the
anybody needs a
paper.
copy? You have extra copies of the letter?
More copies here.
We have plenty, so if you're looking for one.
I'll take it just so I can have multiple things open. Denise, will you pass it?
I thought I had it.
Oh, wait, can you?
Yep, there's still a couple I need to.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, everyone's sort of reading through it now, there's just people who want to flag or go over or whatever, by all means.
I think the only thing I wanted some clarity on is the gas station. I'm trying to remember which one that was. Oh, number 5. So I know we were talking about that at the end of our last special meeting. And I think there was some discussion about, were we referring when we pulled them from the C30? I think the discussion was talking about the result of the Halls Road overlay. So we did, as a commission, remove the gas stations from C30 and C30S.
Yes,
right?
but what you didn't do is remove it from C10, where there are no gas stations presently. Okay? Your intention, as I recall, was to remove it everywhere, but through a sort of oversight that we didn't remove it from C10. I take responsibility for not noticing that either. But the question is, do we want to remove it from C10 as part of this overhaul, because that was the intention, or do we want to try and do that separately in phase 2 and have it wait another year? And my recollection from the discussion at the last special meeting was you felt comfortable removing it from C10 in this version of the regulations.
Yeah.
So that's what I told Francisco. The consensus was at the last meeting that because you didn't think there really would be any new gas stations in C10 anyway, that there was no real loss to people for not having a gas station in C10. And yeah, that was the intention last time. It got overlooked, and so I just had them included this time.
If I actually just went back and looked,
I thought.
are gas stations allowed in C10? Because I didn't see it. I saw a service station, but there's two definitions. One is for service station, the other is for service station with gas. And I may have this wrong, but I'm just.
No, it is. I always struggle to find what I'm looking for, but let's go back and take a look. Okay.
So it was under special permit for C30F and C30.
Let's make sure we catch it. Here, residential, okay, C30, C10. Retail dealer station for sale of motor vehicle fuels. Right above motor vehicle service facility.
Oh, there it is. Oh,
Okay?
good.
I always struggle to find it.
Thank you.
There it is. It really is there.
Got it.
So I think that is one of the ones we need to make sure gets noted.
As a substantive
Because
change.
that is one of the things, I mean, I actually thought we had decided to do it the other way, because we held a public hearing on this, didn't include that zone. And obviously gonna have a public hearing on the, you know, all the changes, but I thought had said it was substantive, so, but that might be my.
That's how I thought I recall.
That's how, that was, I thought, that was.
Well, again, that's why we're hearing it tonight. I
Isn't
mean,
that, and that's why I brought it up again, because
if you want us to put it back in, it's just a check the box and put it back in, it's easy to do.
well, it sounds like we have a difference of opinion or recollection on that. So I don't know, in your experience, Eric, how have you dealt with this before? If you like pulled out our minutes or we reviewed the discussion?
We ask Amy.
I mean, I don't know that the minutes were that detailed
Yeah.
about that
Hi, Jerry.
specific
I'll look.
issue.
I'll look.
So I mean, honestly, you'd have to go back and listen to the audio. which we
Yeah.
So, but again, I think if you want to err on one side or the other, I would err on leaving it in and handling it next time.
That's what I thought we had
I'll
decided.
break the ice
But-
over here.
I did
But I mean,
too,
ultimately-
Jane feels differently, so.
But again,
I didn't think we were keeping him anywhere.
That's what I thought.
My
We're not
recollection,
going to keep, the idea was not to keep it, but to change it when we when we get to phase 2, rather than change it here. Because this is supposed to be a technical update, and that kind of gets into that, now we're
yeah,
changing a major use.
But
And
that
that's
was
not a
only after
technical-
Eric realized.
it was, the intention had always been to delete it, and it was an oversight we didn't. But again, we all know that eventually we would like to get rid of it in the C10 as well. It's just a
We
question of
understand
timing.
that.
And I will be honest with you, the likelihood that you're going to see a gas station application in the C10 zone is about 0.
Yeah.
So the reality is, I don't know that you're really taking away that many rights one way or the other on it. And, you know, Michael, feel free to weigh in.
No, I actually agree on that one, in this specific case.
It's just the fidelity of the process that I'm questioning
Okay.
by having that.
Yeah, it's just the idea of, is it a technical review to correct it here, or should we wait and do it when we're doing the more substantial
It's
stuff?
technical.
Again,
You're saying it's technical.
Yeah.
My
Why?
recollection
That's
is
why-
back in July when we did the original thing, we had talked about, this is gonna eliminate gas stations
Right,
across
because it was
town.
across town, right,
And we said yes.
yes.
So whether
That's
that
what it
played out
was.
in what we actually did,
Yeah.
but
We just
and
aired
my
it, 'cause we
recollection
just
is
checked the
certainly
wrong box.
flawed.
No, that's
Not
not
enough
what
my
it
record.
was.
That's
There
right.
there was something in the language that Eric wrote saying that we were, in the minutes or something, to remove gas stations from town. Or
Okay.
And
but
again,
that- but
it
that-
should have been for all
So
the
if you're,
zones.
if you're considering that a technical, I guess.
Well,
I do.
Because there's correcting an error.
Yeah.
That was the intention all along.
When did we vote on this? July?
July,
Yeah.
July.
I'll go along with it, I mean, I don't have an option rule.
and again, honestly, Denise, I don't know that.
I just thought we had this discussion, because we were trying to.
And I understand the fidelity of the process, I get all of
So
that.
much.
Yeah, I know, that's why I raised it here.
I did the
This is
minutes.
where we
Thank
should
you.
be discussing that.
Because it's
Yeah,
gonna come up again, not the
Okay.
gas
But I
station,
will,
the
We'll have to find
process,
my
right?
email.
All right.
Because Eric would have done so.
But
And
if the commission feels it's technical, I'm
Well,
comfortable with that
and
too.
I guess, again, when we're putting it in front of the public for notices and hearings and all that, and we're putting a table together of changes, I think it's worth flagging this as a change.
Absolutely. Oh,
Okay?
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we will put it out there as, we had meant to do this, we are doing it now because this was our intention, and please be aware this is about to happen.
That's the bins that.
Yeah, I would put it in the
That is-
bin
I
next to
know.
one that says, okay, there's real
This
changes.
is a,
Yeah.
this is a
Attention.
substantive
It's not a
change, and
typo.
that's gonna be in the, as one of the bins that we're gonna be
Yeah.
putting forward. So,
I appreciate that we're saying it's a technical correction, that this is what the intent was in July, or whenever we did it. We didn't do it right, and so we're fixing it here, I'm
but
fine.
I think the other piece of that is to be clear with the public that we're not hiding it. We are fully admitting that this
Yeah.
will be a change, and we had meant to do it, didn't get it right, we're doing it now, and if you think this is the wrong thing, here's your case to talk
It's
about.
changed in C30 and C30S.
It absolutely is.
We, all right, here we go. Let's see what this is.
Yeah, I didn't do them, but I just pulled it from the
All right,
website.
the Review the commission proposed amendment. The proposal would remove gas stations as permitted uses in C30 and C30S zones. Presently, gas stations are only permitted in C30 and C30S zones, so new gas stations could be approved. The existing 4 gas stations would remain, but would become pre-existing non-conformants. The LUC indicated that the Planning Commission had made a determination that the proposal was consistent with the Plan of Conservation and Development. He asked that if the commission were to vote in favor of the amendment, that A, find it consistent with the Plan of Conservation and Development, and B, set an effective date of 11 August 2025. So we just missed the C10. But that was to eliminate all gas stations.
Good catch.
Okay. So, just to make sure I really have it right.
I was waiting for that.
Well, we're gonna make sure, we will leave it as is for now and just publicize it well before the public hearing.
Yeah,
Okay?
fair enough.
Anything else we can work on tonight?
I love your cancer. It's always good.
Michael, I specifically had him change the weight,
I saw that, thank you.
okay, is that gonna be good enough?
Yeah, I think so, and that my other concern was, it says combination plate, which a combination plate is a very specific type of registration.
Do you have a different wording that you'd like there?
I just think remove the definition of any type of plate. But the weight limit.
Well, I'm not so sure about that,
Yeah, I don't know.
because you're indicating commercial vehicle
Correct.
and then a combination
Well, combination is a commercial.
is a
and-
commercial and.
Yeah. But if it's owned by a business, they're not on a combination plate.
It'll just be commercial.
It'll just be commercial.
Yeah,
Well, but let's go to that section of the regs, let's see if we can figure out where that
It's
is.
a contractor vans and pickup trucks, but what happens if you have a school bus?
Well, that school bus is a school bus. That's how
The
it's
school bus
registered.
registration.
Yes.
Okay. For those of you that have it on your computer, there, can you figure out what section of the regs, the updated regs?
It's
are?
835?
825?
No.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure, well, let's see what it actually says in the updated regs, because that will help us here.
7C.
835 is the updated.
7.7C.
is the old one.
7.7C. Okay, it's, I have 7.7C as being commercial residences.
No, but
Yeah.
Am I looking at the right?
8-3.5 is the new one.
8 dash,
No, it's from 2020.
No,
Okay.
that's the 20.
8 dash,
3 dash.
okay.
Dash 5?
Why does that look like this? I believe Jane.
What is
Okay,
it?
commercial
Well, that's the new
vehicle.
one. I'm looking at the original.
Oh,
regs.
you are
Okay.
looking at the original ones, okay.
Um,
So we are looking at different
Okay.
documents.
The off-street, that's all lots. The off-street parking of only one commercial vehicle outdoors or in a garage is allowed as of right on any lot provided such vehicle does not exceed 12,500 pounds GVW.
Okay, so it doesn't specify plate there.
Right.
If you read it, it doesn't talk about plate at
It
all.
says a
Okay, so I was just reading
commercial
what was in
vehicle.
your.
Well, that's why I wanted
Yeah,
to go,
okay.
this- okay,
But a commercial vehicle, wouldn't that have a commercial plate?
Yeah, I gotta go.
well, we don't define it by plate type,
Okay,
okay?
So it's a
that's
commercial
the fair
vehicle.
point. We don't define it by plate type, we just say commercial vehicle.
Yeah, so I think the big point is, if in explanos, when we're gonna say this is what we changed,
Mhm.
you need to say, this will allow for commercial vehicles to be parked, period, not with combination
Yeah, I think we need to take out the explanation piece of it and just go back to the commercial vehicles, 12,500.
Does this warrant a definition? Commercial vehicle?
but look at B on that. 8.3.5B. It says if you're going to do it,
In a commercial and industrial zone.
then you need a site development plan approved.
Yeah, because at that point, it becomes the primary use of that site is gonna be for that commercial use, and you need a parking plan as part of your commercial approval.
That's different than like
In your residential
Mr.
zone,
Barnes'
he
driveway?
can park in his driveway, I
That's
don't
an
care.
accessory.
Okay,
But if you have a commercial parking lot,
okay,
at that point, in your commercial zone, we need some sort of parking plan for
okay,
that.
all right. So this doesn't apply to private homes?
It should not apply to private homes.
Well, you said it should not.
Well, here's the thing.
Does it or doesn't?
Private homes in commercial zones, it might apply to.
Okay,
So that's the only trigger
It's in the
there that we need to then talk about. All lots.
Yeah, and definitely.
Okay, but commercial, more than one, okay.
There actually is a definition of commercial vehicle in these new regs.
Well, this is a new
Page
definition. That's
202.
It's a new one, yeah.
Okay.
Any motor vehicle with commercial license plates or with lettering, markings, racks, or other apparent accessories indicating is intended for use other than personal and or recreational transportation.
That's or.
Okay, so I guess what this is saying, Paul, is only for vehicles greater than 12.5 is this required for.
okay,
So less than 12.5, it's
12.5,
not
you're
required in
fine.
any zone,
okay,
okay? So this is basically saying if you have heavier than 12.5, the only way to have it is A, you're in a commercial or industrial, and you have a site development plan, okay?
that was my concern.
Does that work for you?
Now,
No, why not?
why?
because if it's more than 12,500 pounds, I guess
And you need a site approval plan.
at your house.
Are we having that kind of a size?
Well, you gotta just look at the contractors in town, right? Like the businesses and your average mom and pop home business owner, like who has a contracting business of some sort or a consulting business or whatever kind of business where they have a vehicle that they use for their business.
What is that vehicle?
It could be a car and or a truck based on the definition here. See, they changed the definition to change it to combination plate, but you could still have a
Well,
car.
There's no plate definition.
Right,
There is. It's defined in the
202,
terms.
But it's an or.
or, it's still or.
It's an or with functional accessories like racks or anything to indicate that it's not for personal or recreational transportation.
So you don't have to have a commercial plate.
Okay. I think maybe I misunderstood that.
Well, there was a case several years ago where there was a local electrician in town.
Mhm.
And he had, at his residential residence, he had, like a horseshoe driveway around the front of the house, and he could have like 3 or 4 commercial vehicles. And there was complaints to the town, to the point where that person removed, I don't know where they are now, had to remove his trucks from his house.
Okay, and it says here,
Only one.
only one. So,
Okay, and that sounds like that's still a problem.
No, I mean, it's all right. If these are the regulations, they are what they are. I just
just
don't want
wanna
to
be
make sure that we're
fair.
not squeezing out
So
people who have
Well,
home businesses.
and remember,
the combination
any-
plate is not excluded by this.
anyone who already has this, as of the date of these regulations, gets to keep it. Remember, they're
Yeah.
pre-existing non-conformance.
Yep.
This only talks about new going forward.
Got it.
So we're not squeezing out anybody who's already
All right, so
here,
this is a new thing. Okay.
okay? So no one loses their current rights under these regs. This is only for new uses going forward,
Got it. Okay.
okay?
I think that's important. Thank you.
I do too.
But
I do too.
No, I'm humming about something else. Something on my stupid, this is like, being weird.
thank you for getting that change here.
I think that should be in the third tier too.
Okay.
As an
I
include.
do too.
Question about what? I missed it.
That'll be in the bin, they have to point out.
That's flagged as a material
Yeah.
change,
Yeah.
not a typo.
No.
So I just had a question, as we finish up the notes, was the added a reference, number 2, augmented or replaced multiple references to character with more specific language intended to specifically define what we believe was intended. I know that was one of the words we were saying, okay, using the word character, how do we deal with that, and what was the state telling us we needed to do? So I was just wondering, do we know, do we know where these were? Because I think it's important for
There
us
was
to get this
99
right.
references in the document, although some with the word characterization, because I looked
Yeah,
at it, but so,
yeah.
take a.
Well, that's what I'm saying, it's like, where did he change it, and what, is there something we need to look at?
We went to all of them.
And it was,
I had to look at most of them.
Okay, I didn't have a chance to do that, so, okay.
In
As long as-
general, I just made myself a note, in general, he said something like,
You can look up right at the top, because the first one is right in the scope.
the scale, density, intensity, and function of the area. And then if you look, I think what a good one
okay.
to look at is under 19.3.5 neighborhood. So there's also
19.3.5.
19.3.5, so page 166 of the October version.
Even look at 1.2, which is purpose, right at the,
And
right
that's
at-
another
right at the
good
top.
idea.
Yeah.
So it should preserve preserve the rural character of the town of Old Lyme, and here's the new stuff, which includes a landscape comprised of open space, coastal areas, forests, farms, village centers, and residential neighborhoods. So yeah, I think that's the kind of
Okay,
objectively observable
okay.
characteristics
yeah.
that.
and I think that was taken more or less straight from the POCD.
Yeah,
Yep.
it
Okay.
was.
So we're going and saying, this is what your plan says you want for your town,
That
so.
makes sense.
So it's not a Rorschach test, it's these
Yeah.
things.
So I think.
Which I'm comfortable with, I just wanted, I didn't have a chance to
Good
look at, so I just
It's a
wanted to see.
major,
And what again, this is one of the reasons I have to give it to our attorney, because I want our attorney to also review that language and say, yes, I think this is specific enough to pass the legal test for what you're allowed to put in your regulations.
Under PA 21.9, which is what drove the whole thing.
That's what I was gonna say, is that needs to be part of the explanation for why we can't just say character anymore.
for neighborhood, I just wanted to point out,
Wired.
he said,
Not in this, he didn't get to it in this email, Jane, but I think we would want that explanation included, because I feel like that's a word that's people are gonna zero in on.
I mean, obviously, people move to Old Lyme for the character, right? That's one of the, sort of the selling points of Old Lyme. So if people suddenly feel like, what do you mean we can't use character? I think that's gonna trigger some people about, you're taking away something important from me. So I think we need explanation as to what we're trying to do, and we're not really trying to take away anything, we're trying to just define it better so that it withstands judicial scrutiny.
And in this case, it was driven by state
Right.
legislation.
I
You
was
have
just
to
gonna say,
define
because
what
we
you
have
mean
to.
in an application by character.
So it's actually protecting the character by making sure we.
But what is
look,
that
I'm sorry.
character?
Look at-
Subjective.
look at page 166, please, under neighborhood, because I just want to make sure we all look at that. So,
166?
19.3.5 neighborhood.
So you deleted the word character there.
That paragraph, just take a peek at it.
But you also then, you have a description of what it means to be in that neighborhood, right?
I'm not really crazy about the protect property value.
So that was that.
I'm-
Protecting property values is actually a legitimate thing under the statute for what you're allowed to do.
What section was it?
19.3.5.
19.3.5.
Dissimilar use. So, I don't really understand what they're saying about dissimilar use, because someone can explain.
Well, they're trying to, I mean, the whole idea of zoning, the whole reason we have zones is so that similar things are kept together and dissimilar things are not kept together.
So
Isn't
if
that what
they,
the zoning
so-
is?
well, no.
That's-
So you've got a beach community with a large commercial business going in there.
Well,
That's a dissimilar use.
Yeah, but now that's penalizing the commercial property owner over the residential, and giving preferential treatment over one over the other.
well, but
That's why
what are
we're
regs?
making standards.
Well, and one of the things that is in the regs already is that if you do have a commercial use or industrial use near a residential use, there are additional buffering requirements to go along with that,
Correct.
okay? So that's trying to, the regs acknowledge that there has to be some transition point between one and the other, and it just says when you reach that transition point, there are some additional things we're gonna try and do to preserve the residential character on one side and the commercial on the other side.
And
I
I
think
would
that's-
say there isn't any question that Old Lyme prioritizes the residential.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you gotta live with that, it's just the case.
And, again, talk to 308-1, and he'll tell you, wait a minute, Mike Corey was here well before any of these residences
That's
were.
very true.
And what do you mean I have to pay attention to the residences? They knew I was here when they got here. But that said, there is a level of buffering that we try and do to make sure that commercial uses are not nuisances to the adjacent residential uses. So
Mary Jo, I appreciate you drawing our attention to this. Was there something
No,
that?
I'm comfortable with
Oh,
that, so
okay.
thank you, but it's because I thought, given the cases we've had before us, and
Yeah.
I thought that to point that out to everybody to take a peek at.
Thank you.
I think you did a good job at that personally.
What else?
I mean, I got the whole parking lot, so I don't know which ones you're trying to get into.
well,
Oh,
that's up to you.
That's-
That's on you.
That's on you,
I know, that's what I'm saying, so I don't know when the opportunity for me to talk about it.
Right now.
right? Yeah.
Because this
You're
is-
ready
Does
to
anybody
talk.
else wanna talk before I do?
Well, let's just make sure we got this cleaned up for right
I
now.
just had one question. On page 172, preservation of natural features, 19.3.19.
What page is it?
172.
Page 172, 19.3.8, oh, 18, sorry, 19.3.18, where it says manual for uniform traffic control devices. I was gonna suggest they add current version of, or just everyone assume that, is that okay?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that,
I'm
because
not
that's
sure
gonna
that-
be the case with every single citation.
Okay,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that,
that was,
personally.
okay, so that's why I do think it's necessary. So we always defer to the most current
Mhm.
version of everything?
And again, that's why the 2020 plan got taken out of there, they just left it in without the date on it, so that we just kept whatever the current version of that.
Okey-doke.
yeah, that plan
We're
was.
gonna take it as policy, that we're not allowing them to go back to better versions in the past.
Okay, as long as we know that, then I'm done.
And if there's any doubt about that, we could just put a note up front saying
Yeah.
references to our,
Reference to
Unless
any
otherwise
specific
noted,
document,
refer
if
to
the
the
current version of that document has the date, the
Right.
application.
Okay.
Yeah, make a note of that, tell our friend, we'd like something in there. Okay, Mike?
So no more on this from Francisco?
nice job.
Yeah,
We're good?
I think so too.
You did a
Should
good
tell him a
job.
nice job.
Yeah.
So before we start with the parking lot, did we get through what we were doing? I have a stop at 10 on page 144.
Right, we did not finish.
So do we want to do that and then go back to the
That's
parking
fine.
lot?
I would think we should probably finish that and then move
Yeah, because we might
into,
have a few more parking lots.
other than,
Yes.
if we sidetrack, we might not.
And if you're looking at the marked up version, 144 is now 157.
Thank you.
Section 19.
What was that again, section?
Section 19.
19.
Which is, starts on page 157. Of the marked up version, we got two versions. One is clean and the other is marked up. I'm looking at the marked up one, that's 157.
So we don't know what it is in the clean version.
Could be 144 on the clean version.
Well,
Well, maybe not. He did
no,
some
no,
changes.
because I'm looking at, my notes are at the, it's basically, we're starting at the beginning of section
Section 19.
19.
Section 19, okay.
13,
right.
which was the old 13.a. And we were looking at everything at this point. What were we looking
So that's site
at?
development plan.
So-
Everything in red and or blue, which is new. And then we also supposed to look at everything that was eliminated at one point as well. We're finishing up everything in red or blue. And there may be some more red because now he's updated stuff, but that's okay that we're doing that too.
Is that what we want to do? We want to start at 157 and go into red?
Yeah.
So your first red one is a missing 19.2.3B. They've added 11 by 17 paper. Nice,
Serious stuff.
yeah?
I have something from 19.2. It's not in red, but just going back to some of the cases we've had. So in 19.2E, the property information section.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking back to the
Nineteen-
Comstock.
Wait.
I have 19.2E, so what are we?
It really starts on 150.
19.2.2E, okay, that's different, because there's lots of these.
19.2.3.
19.2.3.
3E.
That's, see, that's why I was,
You were right.
okay. Property information as follows, yeah?
So going back to the, just looking at what we're looking for on the site plans.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to the hydrangeas galore, we had asked them to include the location of an auxiliary generator. So I don't know if you want to include that on the list of things you want to see.
Well, you can always ask for more than what is in here. This is sort of just the baseline of every application must
Right.
have.
So
So up to you if you want to add it in as a mandatory requirement for every application. But again, this is just sort of a baseline of, it's not considered a complete application unless it has this in it.
And the other one that's come up that I just made a note was just on the country club where we have historical and archaeological sites. And if you wanted to note that on there, that if they exist, you want to see it on the site plan.
And again, I'm not sure those are substantive versus
Right, so-
procedural, or I'm not sure.
Again, what I did was just go back through, at least in my tenure, the cases we've had and what guidance we've given to people submitting site plans.
I thought those were required by statute even.
Probably, but I can certainly note it
It's a
down.
question for
Yeah,
Francis.
but I think
Yeah.
that, again, I wouldn't say that was just technical. There is recommendations on the state archaeologist's website for what should be in local zoning regs, and I was gonna bring that up for our discussion when we get
Yeah,
there.
and we don't
So-
really.
Do you know if it doesn't, there isn't a statute, there is a statute for reference?
There may be, I think he's got some stuff that's referenced, but also just how to protect historical and cultural resources.
So that,
In enabling statute, there's a whole list of things that
so
you're supposed to
that's a
be.
good question for Francisco. There sounds like there's a,
Well, I think
And
that's
then
a
the
good idea.
narrow context of this is just so it's noted on the site plan so it can trigger that.
yeah, or we can just reference that,
Yeah,
that's,
And you could just-
any known, you could ask for any known historical or cultural
And
resources.
that's the thing, is looking at how, like, somehow having a piece in there about how, as part of the public discussion about how we are protecting cultural and historical pieces, because that's gonna become increasingly important. And we have to address it somewhere, especially since, as
Yeah.
we've learned, there's nothing in we don't have the expertise in the town system. We don't have a commission that can do any of this, or that would serve as a stopgap for it. So we've gotta find somewhere to put a marker on it.
Yeah,
So we do it here or put it in the parking lot for phase 2, but
Yeah.
I'll just let it raise it.
yeah, I mean, to Jane's point, there's a technical piece of it just saying, making sure that cultural, you could just add it in under locations of all wetlands, water
Yeah.
courses, rock crops, you could say cultural, historical and cultural resources.
Looking at your
No.
current special permit regs, under 13B411, appropriateness of use. One of the issues under appropriate of use that you may consider protect or enhance, without undue destruction of valuable historic or natural resources or the pollution of lakes, streams, or other water bodies, while providing the best possible design of structures and land uses compatible with the shape, size, and topographic and natural character of the site. So you have in as a character under your existing special permit that you can consider historic or natural resources. So that's in your consideration. Now, whether you need to make it as part of your submission is, I guess, what we're asking about.
So we know it's-
Well, I think there needs to be a shot over the bow that there is the state statute that talks about that. So that we should, in our new regulations at least, when it comes to historic and artifacts, factual, that they should be complying with or be taking guidance from the state statute. And I think that's our question for Francisco.
Okay.
And also to Michael's point, that's helpful if we know that it's there. If we don't know it's there,
Right.
because they didn't have to disclose whether or not
If-
there's
yeah.
something there.
Well, if we say if any known, then it's like if they know about it, they have to put it on, so
Yeah.
they can't hide it from
Right.
us. So
Yeah.
it's like
Right.
we're not asking them to go out and do.
Do
Sure,
research.
okay, that's
Right.
fair, yeah,
But
yeah.
If you know about it.
No, but not.
And most
but
of those
a lot-
ones usually are known.
You can literally
Well, but a
find
lot of,
artifacts on
particularly
every property.
cemeteries and that kind of stuff, so. Cemetery, I mean, and then it's one of those things like, cemeteries, location of stone walls, people don't think about stone walls as being cultural resources, so. Those are the types of things you put in there. So I think you could just put that either under 6 or, I think under 6, because you're talking about all the stuff you want in there. That's kind of the natural resources, and I think you can add, because it says and other physical features, and I think you could just add, historic and cultural resources.
Yeah, so I would say you could put it in right after 12 in I, because that's significant archaeological sites. So you could put a number 13 and put that right there.
Oh, okay, yeah, I
What
didn't.
does
So-
it there?
Would we say historical and like introduce the word historical
It
then?
says significant archaeological sites identified.
Yeah, well, usually, so you usually say cultural resources, which is the combination of
Okay.
historical and archaeological sites. When you say cultural resource, it kind of covers everything.
Yeah, I don't know what that word means.
Yeah. That's the term that's used.
Let's ask Francisco
Well,
if we can have a little discussion on that in the regs.
Okay,
As in brackets, this is what it means.
But even adding it, either you added a different one or you just say significant historical and archaeological sites
Okay.
or resources.
Let me go back to him with that and see if he has some thoughts on how to beef that up a little bit, so we get the submission on that.
And if there's standard terminology.
Right.
And he should know, Denise, you says there's a state statute on it, or?
There's
Yeah,
referencing it right here.
Yeah, see, under G, that's talking about the existing proposed parking, location, and circulation, so that,
Let me see if I can do
and then the landscaping and open spaces, but sometimes it's not just about that. That's why I like it kind of up above also. Where, just where it's talking about putting in the natural resources. Under E, property information as follows. And just a quick note, Eric, on number 7,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
USDA. You should probably put the cooperative soil survey, not the soil.
Number 7 under,
I'm sorry, under
She.
G. No,
E.
E. Under E.
19,
Sorry, E's on the next page, so you have to flip up to
19 what?
19.2.3 E.
E.
USDA Soil Conservation Service.
That's not the name anymore, but I would say the USDA's cooperative soil survey.
Renamed. Okay, let me go back to him.
But is that one of those terms that if they keep changing the name,
The
like
cooperative soil survey isn't changed, but the soil conservation service is now the Natural Resources Conservation Service. But
right?
But under them, the cooperative soil survey has never changed its name. So
Right. I'm just saying, like for instance, we replaced Ledge Light Health District with
No.
local or regional.
no, you have to refer to this one because it's a it's a document.
Okay.
Cooperative soil, what was
Look,
the
it's the USJ Cooperative Soil Survey.
survey?
Soil survey. Let me go back to him and just,
What would be the purpose of answering that?
Because it's not called soil.
Okay.
It's not called the Soil Service Conservation Service anymore. It hasn't for the last 25 years.
Oh, jeez. And that's
It's time.
But rather than give the name of the agency, you just basically refer to the Cooperative Soil Survey.
got it.
Oh, and this is an aside, but relatedly, after our last hearing, I volunteer at the Historical Society one day a week. And we were discussing the remnants of the meeting house that are hidden behind, supposedly behind that bush.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And Michaela Pearson, who knows her stuff,
right.
believes that there's nothing there, believes it was wood and burned at a certain point, so there really won't be anything in that shrub for
To
people to
protect.
find.
I think they
I
were.
actually walked by that last week and I had the
She
same
said-
thought.
She
I
said it was
looked
all
here
wood.
into the
I
brush
mean, I
and
don't
see
know,
it.
but that's, she,
It looked to me like there was something that went up to a certain height and then stopped, and then there were bushes.
I think it's just an overgrown little area.
We just need someone to clean it up.
Well, you say that overgrown little area, but it's interesting that there's a path around, it's like an island.
Yeah.
And it's, all cut around there, so what is
she
really
doubts
in
it.
there?
I'm just gonna say, she doubts it.
She's- yeah, she's
If Michaela doesn't think there's anything there, then there's nothing
Well,
there.
it might not be wood there, but there might be the remains of a old foundation.
Well, they did say that
Mr.
it was
Michael.
foundation.
Yeah.
That's what they
Well,
did
that's what he
say.
was calling, but she doesn't believe there's a foundation under there.
Or stone or something. There has to be something.
Just reporting what the expert told
So,
us.
Right.
but do we, so
No,
we're just gonna leave it.
I mean,
it's not part of our.
Yeah.
Is it part of our
Conditions,
cultural
no.
resources?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if there's anything there.
well, again, that's part of why they will be doing some sort of
Future.
investigation. That's their job, is to do that
Yeah.
investigation, to figure out what is it.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Maybe the rock is actually what it is. That's
Could be what's left.
They didn't like that, they didn't want that.
Under the Connecticut Environmental Protection Act, Section 22A19A talks about provisions of this section shall be applicable to the unreasonable destruction of historic structures and landmarks of the state, which shall include those properties, one, listed under consideration for listing as individual units on the National Registry of Historic Places, or two, which are part of the historic district listed under consideration for listing in the National Register and which have been determined by the State Historic Preservation Board to contribute to the historic significance of the district. I'm not sure that that's certainly something that we can add in since we have a historic district, but obviously we want this to apply to other places in town
I was
besides
gonna say, that's not
that.
the historic district.
Is
Or
it?
is it?
No, this is,
Yeah, no.
allows you to intervene in matters in this area to protect those things, but obviously we wanted to apply it elsewhere in town to just
Right.
the historic district
Right.
here, so, okay. Let me go back to Francisco, see what he has to say on it, and see what additional language we can come up with for that protection. if we need.
Look at the state archaeologist. He's got a whole thing on it
Okay.
that might be helpful.
That's cool too.
It was Nick Valentoni for years and years and years, he was really cool guy.
Yeah. Takes a
Nick's
special
the,
person.
Nick's the best. The bone guy.
He's the bone guy, exactly.
He knows his bones, let's just say. And he does the best Halloween program on the vampires, which of course wasn't vampires, it was TV. So. But how they came up with the whole vampire thing, and really interesting.
Okay, not to try and bring us back on target though,
So please.
So just as we're going through this, so I don't know where people are, I guess everything else under those sections are fine. So I've jumped down, if anybody's comfortable with that, I've jumped down to 19.2.5 G. Oh, I'm sorry, 8.
what page do you have for that?
And we so the act for protection areas are, do we have a separate aquifer protection area defined in our town versus the Aquifer Protection Act?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a local aquifer protection.
Protection, yeah, okay.
In fact-
So, and that's what I'm saying, this is what this is referring to.
Yes, it is, because,
Okay,
and in fact, we spent a fair amount of time trying to figure out why it's numbered the way it is, because it doesn't seem to be numbered in relation to the state, and it's got like random numbers in the town here that we don't seem to connect to any other numbers out there, but yes, if you look on our GIS around Rogers Lake, there is a local aquifer protection area that is not part of the state. So I don't know how it got there.
because, yeah, because
Well,
I'm,
Jane, you were on there, weren't you in the zoning when that came about? Yeah.
I thought there was
What are you trying to
actually,
say?
I thought there were also.
Well, I
a
was
zone
there,
on
I mean, I
Hall Road for some
observed,
reason.
so.
there is,
Yeah.
there is, it's not, I think there
I
is
think
one on
we
Salt.
wanted one there.
Yeah,
That's why.
wasn't that with Nancy, didn't Nancy Hutchinson help write that?
I bet she did.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
No, I've only been here 3 years. and
Yeah,
predates
no,
me,
it's
so-
pre you.
Yeah.
But I want to say, well, Paul, I think you were still on the commission.
When was that?
Maybe it was 6 years ago
Mm-hmm.
or so.
They haven't been on
Nancy
since
worked on that.
2015.
Yeah,
But it came up because we thought we were needing to be very concerned about it, and we found out we were kind of a low-ranking aquifer protection zone, not a very high-ranking one.
Yeah.
Is that
That's why
what
I
we're
was-
talking about, the boathouse up there? Or that
No,
the building that was gonna be bought and then turned into a club?
Yeah, that was after.
That was after?
Yeah, it must have
Okay.
been years after.
no, I'm not really remembering specifically what made that come up, but
Okay. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure that we were
Might have been something
referring
on
to what
Halls
we
Road.
needed to
Might
refer
have
to.
been
And we'll take a harder look at that
behind Halls Road.
next time.
I see how they added licensed traffic engineer, so there's a difference here in Connecticut from the licensed traffic engineer versus the regular
Where are you now?
site development engineer. 9210,
1902.
Where are you?
9211, 19211,
164.
164, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, there is an actual state license to be a traffic engineer, so presumably those are the ones we want.
Yeah, okay, I just didn't know if that was it.
How about sound engineer?
Oh, yeah.
We have lots of those. Pickleball, you say?
As long as we're talking about engineers and such, it's unclear that the country club sent out notice to abutters. So you may be seeing them again next month.
Oh dear.
wow,
I was wondering about that.
that is,
Oh,
So since that came up, is the notice gonna include, the call was about a change to the application. Is the notice gonna be specific that the change involves blasting? That may.
To allow blasting.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's gonna involve whatever the special application title is, but I mean, ultimately, yeah, they have to give notice to the neighbors, and it doesn't look like they did, so.
so that thing was just a repeat of who they,
Hmm.
I mean, because I looked through that before, and it had the list of the people they sent the first time around. So they just resubmit that list and not
Well,
actually,
we don't have, Craig is chasing them down, they haven't gotten back to you, but at the moment, it appears they did not send out the certificate of mailing notices to the neighbors.
so what does that do for our approval?
Nothing, it voids it.
Good.
So,
Good.
you have to basically come in with a re-notice, rehearing, you'll hear it again from scratch next month.
Okay.
yeah, I was
Okay.
surprised that nobody
Yeah,
showed up.
nobody showed up. I was
For
like,
blasting?
what happened from
That was cool.
pickleball,
But
everybody
don't worry,
shows
it's
up.
on the town website.
Don't worry about blasting.
but if you
Anyway,
did it didn't
That's
mention
not
what.
relevant to tonight's discussion, so maybe that was the wrong time to mention it, but yes, that is something that we've been chasing down. We have not put legal notice of decision in the paper, because I'm not sure that we had a decision if it was improper.
If it wasn't properly filed, yes.
So we're chasing that down, but I figured as long as we're talking about previous experts and such, something for you guys to be aware of, okay?
Yeah.
165, 1931. C. Is that character thing again?
Where are you?
165, bottom
bottom of
165,
Yeah,
C.
If you
In
look,
harmony, it's the character thing again.
it's just deleted the word and you used the description instead.
okay.
Landscape uses and scale
That's
intensity.
our criteria for review of somebody's site.
Yes. So our review, okay.
Historic is in there too, indeed.
There it is.
Okay, never mind. It's just, there's like so much, it's not, when you say, okay, for instance, on 166, the Plan of Conservation and Development, 1934, E, right, the location, style, and intensity of the outdoor, so like, we're controlling the style of the fixture, what are they defining by style?
Well,
The style of the area.
outside, we have all those. We do.
Wouldn't that, okay,
No, they want it, look like a horse-drawn carriage, that's fine, but
yeah,
it's still
yeah.
gonna have to have.
Makes sense. Excuse me.
Excuse me, one more, I go home.
You knew that's what you were
I thought you were about to sing. He's out of here.
Pepper, give me a bite.
Well, I'll jump to the end.
Okay.
23.2, no active moratoria at this time. I'm not,
What is it, Mary Jo?
if you go to the end, 23.2 is talking about moratoria.
Okay.
Sorry.
199.
Oops, thank you. It says no active moratoria at this time. Do we need that in the regulation to say that?
Well, we don't need it to say that, but I guess you should probably, since you have a section on moratoria, which I think is important,
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think you just wanna either say reserved or something there, just to indicate that there isn't anything, it's a placeholder for future regulations, but there's nothing in that section right now.
Well, I guess I don't know what that means.
Well, I mean, you guys had a moratorium in place and it expired, it's gone.
Right,
So it's just letting you know that this is where, if you have future moratoria, they're gonna be here.
okay, so you are gonna, we are gonna put them in our regulations on an ongoing basis.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you're planning to have future ones, but in the event there is some future moratorium,
Okay.
this is where you place all
As
the.
opposed to like at the end or something like that.
Yeah, well, again,
Okay,
Place reserved for future information.
That might be
The thing
better.
that made me laugh so hard when I looked at it, there was a real page. It wasn't a printout. And so I took it out of an insurance policy and stuck it on my window entering my office. And so I could judge whether people had a sense of humor or not.
What does it say?
Place reserved for future information. And it was printed on a sheet, on a real page.
So
I said, well, I
maybe,
can sit around and wait for future information. I wonder when it's gonna pop in there.
I just think that sounds awkward. Maybe it's like you said, placeholder for future moratoriums as opposed to no active, because there might be one in the future, then we'd have to change that language.
Well, that's exactly the point, right? I mean, this is just saying that when you get one, you're going to take this out and replace it with whatever the moratorium is.
So you're gonna take out no active moratorium at that point.
That's the idea, right? Right now, it's a blank. So
Right.
if, once it's not a blank anymore, you take out the placeholder language and you replace it with whatever belongs there. So yeah, I mean, the future moratorium would, as part of its adoption, delete that sentence and then put in whatever the future reference.
So we would
That's what I
actually,
think would sound better for that phrase there instead of no active moratorium at this time.
What
Future, placeholder for future
Space
moratorium.
reserved for future information.
Yeah, exactly.
yes, I like
Yes, so
that.
much better.
That narrows it down.
Space
I don't know
reserved
why.
for future information.
I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward, no active moratorium. It's like,
But
because it doesn't
I-
let people think that you have one coming up. It's just like there's nothing happening right
Well, that's why I read that, it's like, I don't think that tells me, and again, this is the first time I'm looking at it, so I think it's legitimate because
Well-
someone knew would look at this going, what the hell does that mean?
Active moratoria will be posted in this spot.
Okay, you could do it, instead of doing
Yeah.
negative, you could do the positive.
The positive, I think, would make a little bit more palatable for me.
Any active moratoria
Yeah.
will be, what?
For that or save for future moratorium or something like
Here in
that.
this location.
Yeah,
active moratorium will be posted in this section, is that?
Yeah,
perfect,
Watch this space.
yeah. You watch your space
Yeah.
coming
Look
soon.
keep,
Coming soon.
stay
To a
tuned, don't
neighborhood
touch
near
that
you.
dial.
Save the date.
Check the town website.
For the next excited moratorium.
The little like color stripes you used to put on the TV?
Yeah,
Thank you.
Don't change your channel, is that what you
So the test pad.
don't touch that dial, I know what time it is. What time is it? It's heavy duty time.
Some of those are not quite that old.
No,
okay, so we
no,
did-
that's fine.
So we did
I was
all
gonna
the
say, this should be like an
definitions,
old
so we don't
picture
have to
too when
look
it
at
was
those
going
again.
close up.
And we did all of the tables, right?
Yep, and all the definitions.
So that is that the end?
So again, 228 is now eliminated sections, if you want to go to eliminated section.
We skipped over 19.5 too, which is completion of work, which is a big one, but it looks like it's all driven by CGS 3.
Yeah, that's why I
That's
think.
how I read it.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
There's a few that there's a lot of words, but those
It's
are all,
all traces
Yeah.
back to
Statutory
That's
requirements.
that's all the statutory stuff.
On 179, under section 20, special permits.
Wait, you're going back to 179?
Page 179.
Yeah, page
Right.
179.
which is
Okay.
section 20.
It's just, it's all red, so this is all new information here. I'm just trying to,
I'd like to add the word only to section A of 20.1. And I'd like to put it between the desirable and under. If everybody would agree.
What was that word again?
Only.
Permit.
Okay, what words
It's on
are
line 3 of A,
Section, third line.
20.1.
desirable and under? You want the word
Only.
only.
Reminding us why we're doing special permits.
Sounds better.
so these are all, what changed about this from the last set of
I think
regulations?
he moved it.
The red is the movement.
Yeah, so see that above it, 13B1, 13B21, 13B22.
Okay. But,
consolidated.
There's four here, so.
No, but I think that he rewrote it to be consolidated.
I don't have a problem with the only, Jane. I don't think it actually makes it more restrictive, but it communicates that it's
Communicates
restrictive.
to us.
Yeah. Yep.
That we have to find a reason why it should be
Yep.
there.
No land or water area may be used. What do they think? How do you interpret that, Eric? On 20.1C.
Well, I mean,
It says until the commission, you guys, it doesn't say it can't be used, it says until the commission
well, and,
grants or amends a special permit.
until we get to the ocean or the river, people own to the center line of streams or lakes or whatever else. I mean, if you live along Swan Brook, you own to the center line of Swan Brook. So just saying that basically, even if a portion of your lot is water, you still can't change its use without the commission's approval.
Gotcha.
Well, I understand what he's referring to, though. The first clause is no land or water area may be used,
Correct.
period.
Well, but it doesn't say period.
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
comma,
It's a comma.
or, you know,
Well, but it doesn't say no use may be altered, expanded, or intensified. It just says no. That's a phrase by itself. And then you have the second phrase. And then you have a third phrase.
Yeah.
So no land or water area may be used. So it's just kind of, I'm not gonna complain about it, but I understand why somebody might.
I have-
Phraseology, yeah.
You have to go until.
I fought an entire case and lost over a
Okay, but I'm
semicolon versus
using
a
this
comma.
chair and I
So
haven't
Wait,
got
say it
a
again.
permit.
I had,
Exactly.
So it's only
years ago, when I was still just dating with the woman who is now my wife, and this is going back 20 years since, you know, she had literally had to sit in on a court case of mine where the question was, in this regulation, it was a semicolon instead of a comma, and did that change the meaning of the regulation? And I was arguing one thing, and the other person was arguing the other thing. And the judge, after an hour or so, was like, okay, I'm done, you know. And
So which was it? Which was
it,
it?
it was a semicolon, and the judge ruled that made it a separate sentence, and therefore after the semicolon it meant something entirely different. And that meant the enforcement case I thought I was reading, I wasn't gonna win. So, but anyway, so at some point, literally the judge looked at my wife in the back of the room and was like, are you waiting to get out of here? And she's like, yes. She's like, okay, well then, case adjourned, and that was it, you know.
She sided with the wife.
I know, I love it.
This is the same one, by the way, at the beginning, where the marshal said, all rise, and Lisa didn't think it applied to her. 'Cause she-
Oh, boy.
So the judge, marshal tried again, all rise. Anyway, so.
There's
She
some
didn't
infamous
commit
case law
anything.
around Harvard commas too, isn't there? There's some infamous case law around Harvard commas where you leave the comma before the and in a serial list, or you leave it off and have the. I think there's a case to turn on.
Anyway, back to the regs here, so we can keep moving to that.
Yes, grammar, punctuations.
Well, I think they're talking about a use being started, not one that's being continued.
Yes, that's,
So would you change?
Well, you could say commence to be used if you really wanted to split hairs, but I think by the time you get to the end of the sentence, I think you get the idea.
yeah.
So the scale and intensity on 182, 20.4.4, you have a parcel that's 10 acres next door to a parcel that's 1 acre. The scale and intensity is going to be different. Like how does this ability restrict the 10-acre person as opposed to the,
I don't think it does.
well,
Which one are you on?
20.4.4.
These are general standards.
And all it just says is that the scale and intensity shall be, you know, to allow the orderly development of the town, and shall not hinder or discourage appropriate development and use of adjacent property. So all it has to do is make sure that what you're developing on your piece doesn't hinder the development of your neighbor's piece. I'm not sure that's an unreasonable request. That's sort of standard in the zoning regulations everywhere.
You shouldn't really change anything. What it should be do is just be more specific about what you're gonna consider
Well, that's, yeah,
if the word character was there.
exactly.
What does that mean?
Right, what does character mean? And then here's what you're saying.
Okay.
Question on the 20.4.8 traffic access. That question. Do our zoning regulations have to necessarily agree with like a town ordinance or the planning regulations for
They're
driveways?
supposed to agree with us.
Is that right?
Mhm.
And if so, if we say 30 feet, the width of our driveway, that's
Well,
what they should have, or they can be less or more
Oh.
restrictive?
The planning commission has to stick with whatever we have. We control that.
Okay,
We don't control municipal ordinance. So if the town meeting wants to set something else for town roads, there's not much I can do about it.
okay,
But for new town roads that we are approving under our regs, that we get to set the standards on that, so.
okay. All right, because that's kind of been confusing on several occasions. And I know that, for example, some of the town issues refer to the Director of Public Works for driveway permitting.
Well, driveway permit is approved through, the actual driveway permit is approved by Director of Public Works. However, it is referred up to me I have to review its consistency with any zoning approval.
Okay,
So I have a check off on those applications, so that I will compare it to your zoning approval and say, yes, it meets zoning, no, it doesn't meet zoning, and he can't sign off until I've signed off on my piece of that application.
okay, that makes me feel better.
Is there an example or a situation where this has arisen?
Every time, because curb cuts are always handled by either the selectmen or public works.
Yeah,
Unless it's state, which in case is handled by state DOT, but yeah.
I meant that she was specifically talking.
oh, well, every time. That sort of
Because-
sums it up.
If you have a new plan and it's got 100-foot wide entrance onto the
Yeah.
public road, it's not just a curb cut permit, you gotta see that it's what all the things that were on the zoning map that were approved.
Yeah. And they're looking, and they're looking for sight line, making sure the
Yeah.
sight line is right.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. I didn't know that you actually review that.
I sign off on every driveway permit.
Good to know.
And your skirt.
That has a curb cut.
Even the ones that don't apply, huh?
Well, there are limits to my powers, Jane, but yeah.
Thank you.
The expiration, 188, the expiration of special permits, is this the state language that's taking over in there?
Yes.
Yes. Ooh, character of the town got, there was a place where he missed it.
Couldn't give me a cookie.
Really?
Yeah.
Where? What
The
page?
character of the town is in,
What page?
20.4.14, B, number 6.
20.4?
20.4.14.
Building mounted
Number
lighting shall
6.
utilize shielding
In
lights.
harmony with the character of the town.
Oh, wait, crazy because he got it right before. Good catch,
Okay, well, I
Jane.
will have to go
So
and.
now it's an even 100. What's 99?
It was 99.
Shouldn't that really reference the dark sky based on the river, Cog?
Well, only for the portions of the town that are within the.
Oh, right. But didn't we adopt it for all buildings in town?
Not
Dark
yet.
sky? We did not, huh?
No, that's for your next phase.
Next phase.
Yep.
On 197, 22, 4E, didn't read the whole context yet, so maybe it's in red, so I don't know, is it somewhere else already?
I'm sorry.
Page 197,
197.
22.4 E, F, and H.
22.4 E, F, and H.
I'm just trying to digest or comprehend it. I'm sorry, I'm doing it on the spot here, but I didn't know if anyone had any insight on why these are in here or what the change was.
By the local regional health authority and that the proposed sanitary codes for the E is okay.
It's more the date ones, so F and H.
Any condition. And if it default to you, Eric, what's F specifically? Are those dates, those day extensions correct?
It's just context how they're used.
Let me go back and ask him on that. And I know for like subdivisions, you have to record your subdivision map within a certain number of days. I don't know that you can have the conditions here in F and G that are tied to those dates here, but let me go back and raise that point with him.
And also just the technical end, 100 and then 180.
Are there still special permits that go to the zoning board of appeals?
No,
So we should actually take out,
special permits and
special
variances.
permits right there in number E, right, letter E. Right?
Yes. It was a point where planning commission and ZBA both were getting them, they're all now coming to you.
Yeah.
In H, end of the first line, beginning of the second, final plans on Mylar. What is Mylar?
It's a bit transparent to your.
That's what you put, that's what you put a survey map on that you have to do it in order to record
Oh,
it.
that's not microfiche, is it?
No.
It's just,
I mean, I'm dating myself on that one, but I know all the old stuff that we
It's
used.
plastic.
Like,
It's plastic.
Mylar, it's definitely a brand name, but it is a type of clear plastic
Okay,
that you print it on that gets recorded in the land
Say
records.
zero.
It's not paper, it's a hard plastic
okay.
so that it's essentially durable. It lasts for hundreds of years.
It's because the color actually goes into the plastic, so you can't razor it off with a razor blade.
You can't
That's
race
what
it, go
was
in there and
happening.
make a change on it and then
It was
pretend
what
that's
was
the way it
Sounds
was.
like etching.
Yeah, it's just,
It-
it's actually
Smart.
absorbed by the plastic, so the black is in the plastic.
Yeah, well, as long as it's not microfiche, I feel
No,
much
no.
better.
No,
We still have that in there if you wanna go look.
What?
literally, it's a hard plastic that it costs like $100 per
It's
Mylar.
basically a plate is what it is. It's a
no, it's.
engraved,
no,
it's an engraved plate, right?
Well, but it's
It's wrapped
plastic.
up. You can,
It's
just
flimsy.
like-
Oh, it's a roll. It's a roll.
It's a, yeah,
Okay,
it's
It's not like
plastic
mail,
paper.
it's,
Overhead
It's
projector.
plastic
Yeah.
paper.
Yeah.
okay. All right,
So not-
plastic paper, I like that, okay.
Acetate.
So not for nothing.
Acetate.
So not for nothing, because actually I noticed it on page 176 that he inserted provided on Mylar.
Yep.
But he capitalized it on 176.
well, yeah, technically it's a brand name, so.
Well, then it needs to be
Then
capitalized.
it's gotta be
on
capitalized here in
190.
H.
It's
On
like
one-
Xerox,
197
it's become
H.
so commonly used that it doesn't get capitalized anymore.
Okay,
Like
It does
Kleenex.
it.
Well, I don't care if it's it's just, if we capitalize it in one place and not in another.
it should be consistent, it should be
Yeah, It
globally.
should be consistent.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what
We're
we're
trying,
to
Jane,
do.
we're trying.
I will note that for the record here, okay?
I'll make it the small end so that.
So the F relates
Don't have
to
trouble.
applications for special.
Yeah, we're taking out for special permits and then.
Yeah, I got
and
that. I got that part, but I meant just like, what are they talking about in timetables where it's a single extension?
We're, Eric is gonna ask about that. Because there may be statute that says
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it basically is trying to limit how long you have to record your variance once you get it.
Okay.
And the reason it's doing that is because if you get a variance and you sit on it for 20 years and then you record it, well, anybody who knew anything about it is long gone.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make sure that the chain of title reflects what the ZBA did
Yeah.
within a reasonable period of time. I just don't know where statutorily this comes from, so I'm gonna ask him to explain where it comes from.
Makes sense then.
Okay, are we done?
Well, again, you did want to go through the delimited sections, which is page 228. If you want to take a look at that.
Yeah, that's the last thing we have, I think.
Eight dot seven dot one,
Mhm.
lot adjacent to railroad, this section established, we're deleting it. Is that because we don't have any properties that cross the tracks?
No, what it's saying is it's limited just to the WF20 properties adjacent to the railroad, and you don't have any WF20 properties adjacent to the railroad.
Okay,
So it's just saying you're setting a regulation for properties that don't exist.
okay.
Can we,
We've done that in the past, we can't do it anymore.
so would this be a good example of a document that we would wanna like flag for the public?
Yeah, I think the way it's written here is probably confusing for the average person to read, so I think we would want to rephrase it in a more user-friendly way to read it.
Okay,
But I think this is a good document to start from, as this is why we got rid of certain language.
yep. So is that something we would ask Francisco to do?
Yeah, I definitely,
Right.
we can work with him to
Okay.
make this more user-friendly in a format.
And then I think there's just one more column here. Why eliminate it?
Yeah.
To the right, and then just a brief as to why it was eliminated.
Well, but I think that's the purpose of the section.
Yeah, that's the third.
That's the third column now,
Okay,
so.
unless you wanted to put it in more.
When he says that prohibition on drive-through service has now been eliminated, do you know, Eric, whether there's any permission for accessory use drive-in through service?
So what he's saying is, it's on the list of uses, it's not shown as an allowed use. So he's saying, since you're not showing as an allowed use, you then don't need to also specifically prohibit it.
Unless you want to.
You can, but he's saying that's sort of redundant. He's saying the only things you can do are on your use table.
Somebody's gonna argue that that's not included.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And they're gonna amend the regulation to
This
try to change.
particular one, because this was hard fought
Okay,
I think this one maybe should stay.
I would agree.
Somehow.
Okay.
I would agree.
let me go back and tell them then.
I'm a Cookie Monster
Just
today.
to make sure that, because we do allow banks to do it, but nobody else.
Well, you just don't want the big giant.
Yeah.
You guys say pharmacy?
Yeah, so the current regulation says drive-through service to patrons and vehicles as either a principal use or as an accessory use to a full-service restaurant is prohibited. So that's what,
Like McDonald's.
no, it wouldn't be McDonald's, because McDonald's isn't a full-service restaurant.
Why wouldn't it be a full service restaurant?
You can't go in there and sit down.
Yes, you can.
I think
Maybe.
Oh, that's-
Well,
It's absolutely a full
there's also a separate issue, which we'll get to at some other point. You specifically prohibit fast food restaurants in the town of Old Lyme.
Yeah.
So that's separately covered as you're not allowed to have fast food restaurants. I don't know why Subway and Dunkin' Donuts are allowed, but
That's
some,
what I was like thinking. I was thinking of Dunkin' Donuts, do they have?
When we got Subway, it was like the first thing since sliced bread to come here. It was like insane. I still remember like the controversy.
Did you sneak more cookies?
Yeah, I'm a Cookie
When I was
Monster.
gone, when I was gone?
Yeah.
You said you were done at
You
6.
left it open.
Yeah, how many is this,
Subway-
9?
Did Subway replace Coffee Works, is that what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, that was Coffee Works.
But Coffee Works went under.
That was.
Dunkin'
Dunkin'
Donuts
Dunkin'
replaced
replaced
Coffee
Yeah.
Coffee
That's
Works.
right, yeah, so Coffee Works went under,
Right,
and so there was this vacuum all of a sudden, and I think that's how it happened.
You're right, it is.
okay, again, we're not doing anything about it now. We're not gonna close them down
No.
today because
that-
we noticed in our regs it's not allowed.
Right.
But there was no sign on the highway, and now they have signs on the highway.
why is Subway not allowed when there's the restaurant down the way?
There it is.
All our regs say, and it's not really defined,
Okay,
is fast food restaurants are prohibited in the town of Old Lyme.
Oh.
So what makes something fast food versus
I see.
whatever
This is saying this
is
prohibited.
unclear.
Coffee Works served only coffee.
That's right.
That was what it was.
Okay.
But the next reiteration started to add other stuff.
And I do know that the historic district has thrown fits about when the local places on here try to expand what foods they serve, right?
That's right. Yeah, they couldn't let them have the Bluestone patio in the back to eat their candy at.
So Eric, when he's referencing that something is in a new section, if he could put the section number. Because, so for example, if we wanted to look up this prohibition, it's like, okay, I know that it's in 11.12.2 is what we eliminated, but he says because it's prohibited in someplace else, you should then reference it.
Okay, I will make sure we include that.
Because then we can take a look at that.
Okay. I'm done.
We're done with that. I got one quick comment on section 7. I'm not sure how to handle it. So section 7 is the principal use regulations, and it's supposed to be district independent, mostly.
Which page?
What, section 7?
What about, section 7's a long section.
It's a long section. So in
What are
both mixed use and multifamily.
7 dot what?
So it's 7.14 and 7.18. I'm not looking at, this is not about the content per se, it's but I'm not 14, 7 dot. It's mixed use.
Mixed use is 716.
716, okay, and then multifamily. So this is not about the content, it's more about the organizational document. So section 7 looks to be like, it's supposed to be district independent, just the general use regulations, but both of those sections are exclusively for the Soundview Village District.
Multifamily dwelling is not just for Soundview. We have actually a multifamily dwelling district. We have several multifamily dwelling
But the
districts.
text in it, I believe, let me just find it, multi-dash family.
So 7.16 says mixed uses,
Yep,
and it says within the SVVD.
and that's
The
all
following
there is.
shall apply.
As of right now, mixed uses are only allowed there.
Right.
Multi-dwelling developments are allowed in your multifamily zones, and we've got several of those
And I
around
think
now.
that there was one other, maybe 7.18? Yeah, 7.18. So again, that section only refers to the single district. Now, I understand that there may, at some point in the future, be other districts that have either mixed use or multifamily housing, but I don't want to make a thing out of it, but it sort of violates the
spirit of
the structure that we were going for, where section 7 is district agnostic, and anything specific to a district is set out in the use tables for the district.
Okay, I will ask him.
That's a good point.
I don't know what the answer is.
It does make it confusing though, then.
Okay, so you wanna move those?
Well,
And if there's a way to put some generic stub in 7.14 and 17.18 now, and then move the Soundview, the
well,
SVVD specific stuff to the Soundview, to the SVVD section.
I just think, Michael, the answer is, I'm not sure we need to just say within the SCVD. I just think the uses are the uses, and whatever zone they're in, that's where you apply this.
Okay,
So I just don't
and
think-
if at some future date, there's another district they want to do something different with.
So I just think we need to delete within the SVD as a piece of that puzzle, because that way the use is the use, and wherever it's allowed, that they have to apply that.
So that would be for 7.18 and for 7.14.
7.14.
7.16 and
And is it very
7.18.
clear that mixed uses are only allowed in the SBVD?
Oh, yes.
district?
I mean, going forward, I'd like to see them apply elsewhere, but as of right now, it is the literally only zone that you allow mixed uses.
Okay.
7.16 and
18.
7.18, both are SVVD specific. And I just think you need to take out that requirement, because I think that that's handled elsewhere in the regs.
So within those two, should we make a reference where it says within the SVVD, the following shall apply, and then note that they're in the section Soundview Village District?
Honestly, I think we just need to delete the first
That
sentence.
sentence,
The first, within the SVVD, the following shall apply.
Okay.
I don't agree, Eric, because to me, this makes me nervous.
Why does it make you nervous?
Because people read regulations and say, oh, look, we can do that. But it makes me nervous because it's a very limited place in town.
Right.
Regulations where it's allowed.
So it should say only within the SVVD.
But
I don't mind
But
that.
that's what that is why you have a use table. We just specifically
I know, but
went
I don't-
away from that
But
in
the
the regs.
use table is separate from this, so this gives the impression that you can do it in town. So yes, you can do it in one specific place in town, but nowhere else. So I wouldn't mind it still having something there, even if you take out the line, but to have something, currently only allowed in SVD district, something like that. Just
Okay.
so that if you're looking in the regulations, you don't have any doubt that these aren't right now
Yeah.
options available for any place
I
other
would-
than that.
To your point, I would just say only within the SVVD.
Yeah.
Only within the SVVD.
Currently,
Currently, right.
You can infer that from the use tables, because if you look at the use
But I don't
tables,
like
there's no
it
other place
because
there.
that's the
But
thing.
to Jane's point, somebody's gonna go right to this and say, well, it says it here.
I think,
Well, we don't, so just looking at 7-Eleven arbitrarily, because it's in front of me, we have full-service restaurants there too.
Yeah.
They're only
that don't,
involved
But
Right.
still, it's something, these are particularly sensitive. If they're gonna be permitted elsewhere, that's gonna be a big change.
Yes.
so do we include the word currently
Yeah,
as you know,
Currently,
at
only
least
within the
acknowledging that
SVVD.
it could be something that is
Yeah.
addressed at a future date.
Yeah, I don't mind the word currently being in there, but just something. I don't like taking it out altogether.
Currently is a weird word to use in
well,
regulations.
then say only within the
What would be,
SVVD.
what, I
and that's
guess
where
I'm
it
trying
is
to think
now.
something for it
Yeah,
to signal.
yeah,
I'd like
I'm
to-
just saying, it's just a weird, you know.
Actually, only within the SVVD would be better in my mind, because right now it says within the SVVD.
Right.
Which is, where else is it?
Okay, yeah, that works.
Okay.
So is there
So
somewhere
only,
else that it is
only
that we're
within
asking?
the SVVD.
Yeah.
Only
Done.
makes me happy.
That works.
I'm happy now.
Okay.
Okay.
So that would
But
go
now,
for
all right, so the
16.
other-
It still kind of
Special
violates the
things.
spirit of the thing, but it's okay,
Yeah.
because it's a unique
Are
case.
we worried about the other items on our use tables that only fall, like affordable housing is only?
Affordable housing is everywhere. There's only one zone that's not allowed in,
That's LI.
LI.
Which is interesting, because in East Lyme, they have it there. Like, the industrial district sued to try to not allow it there, but the court ruled in favor.
Well, it really, here's where it's allowed in town by 830G. Any zone that allows a residential use. So if your LI regs, I'll have to go back and take a look, allow any kind of residential use, any kind, then affordable housing is allowed. So in East Lyme, the LI regs or the equivalent industrial regs allowed for some kind of residential use, and the court said, well, then affordable housing can go there. So,
That's why they went.
Well, maybe that wasn't a choice, but there are a few other principal uses that, you know, are specific to, so do we,
Yeah.
are we worried about that like we are with this?
that's up to you folks. I was sort of weighing in favor of a cleaner reg, but I understand Jane's point that we're
Yeah.
specifically worried about specific items.
So on the, items to be removed, they have 12.16.2 on water supply. And it's basically saying, oh, we don't have to look at this because the health district looks at it. I have to say I'm concerned about that. I think it's like, it's one of those things like, we were gonna allow a special permit use, not knowing whether they are gonna be able to get the water they need. I just
If
think.
they can't get the water they need,
I
they
know.
can't put it there.
I
But
know.
that's not really a zoning thing. That's not applicable to zoning per se. Like, I understand why it's under the legislature as opposed to being zoning, because it doesn't belong there.
I think it does belong there, because I think there's things that impact water supply, since we all have groundwater for the most part, with the exception of a few neighborhoods that have, public water supply. But because there's things that we may have to look at, and in terms of what we're allowing that could impact their,
But that's not what it said. This is about whether they can get water.
yes.
So is your point?
What I'm saying is, I think there's just, taking the section out, because it's basically saying they'll have a potable water supply. But I would like to make sure that we're not taking out that whole section on water that we might want to look at.
Is your suggestion
We have no choice.
to leave it in there for now, because on the next review, that'll be something we might want to look at more
Yeah, I
carefully,
think-
and you
yeah.
wouldn't want to remove that opportunity to consider it as part of a bigger issue.
Yeah, I don't like taking it out right now.
Well,
I'm
I'm
confused.
looking through 8-2.
That was that, thank you, Eric.
And I'm not sure 8-2 says that your zoning regulations can regulate for
You're looking at
that.
state.
We don't regulate the water supply.
You're looking at CGS?
That's someone,
Yeah,
That's legislate.
I mean,
That's the
honestly,
health
I
district.
don't know that under the things that your regulations
purview.
can allow for,
Mhm.
that there's, okay, well, it says here, be made with reasonable consideration for protection of existing and potential public surface and groundwater drinking supplies.
that's right.
That's a different story.
Yeah,
Yes.
So that I think you can include.
and we have aquifer protection areas. That's a drinking water supply.
Right.
So we have these in our regs. So saying that we don't have them in our regs and you're taking it out, and I don't know how this section relates to all of that. I would hate to have that discussion go away.
I agree with that. I agree.
And actually be the basis for decision making.
And also, actually be, we just had a special permit for a really, really large house. And, we have people right now in town whose wells are drying up.
Yeah, but that's also
I
has to
mean,
depend with how
right
deep
now.
people's wells are and the
Right,
availability of water.
so, but
within
I
that
think
zone.
I like about what Denise is saying is, not that we're gonna decide this or not tonight, but she'd like this to be part of the broader discussion the next go-around. So if this is just a technical review, that's something that can be left in as a marker to be thought through more than just a technical review.
Absolutely. The only thing I'm just concerned about is over-regulating. If somebody has a
But we're not regulating anything.
30,000 square foot house, 20,000 square foot,
Right.
they could have 500 bathrooms,
fine.
and still only be 2 bedrooms, so the volume effluent
Then
is
let's
only
have
gonna
that
be.
discussion in a more comprehensive manner.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we're not over-regulating.
Okay, I wanna make sure we're not
Depends on
ignoring the
the
I'm not
discussion.
sure we're not
I- I-
doing anything.
It's a good thing, but also at the same time, like, if the neighbor's well is going dry and they could actually drill it deeper
Yeah.
and get the water supply that they need.
I respect
But
that
that's
that's your
not
point
for
of view.
us to
It's not for us to
I know
decide.
that, I don't think
So
it should
what we
be.
used to do
Yeah.
before Ledge Light existed,
Yeah.
we used to get a sanitarian's report and a
And we should
water
still.
supply report
Yeah,
for decision-making that said already, not that what we get now, which is, no, it's just up to us and we're gonna do it later. We used to get a report that the
yeah,
site was suitable for septic and the site had water supply.
Yeah,
And they used to make people get a well permit and drill the well and
Before
prove
you
the well
do anything.
before you could do anything.
yeah.
Well, when did that go away?
When we got Ledge Light Health District.
So that's a really good point, and again, that reinforces
Which is wrong.
Denise's
Concern.
bringing this up. Why are we removing this discussion from the
Well,
table?
because look, now we have Ledge Light Health District.
but what
Yeah, but-
happens is you're basically then saying, okay, we're just gonna, whatever their decision is.
That
And,
is sort of what happens.
but it's,
That is
there are,
what happens.
there are,
There
there are
jurisdictions.
considerations we can take because of
Yeah.
what happens on a particular property and how that impacts water and the hydrology,
The question
which
is,
which Ledge Light does not regulate.
Are-
They only regulate whether the well is drilled or not
Are
drilled.
we competent to do that?
That's what I'm getting at. How
Well, that's
are
like
we able
being
make
competent
those
to look at
decisions?
erosion sediment controls or anything else we look at.
So,
Now,
I
we have
am.
the ability to get an engineer. But if we don't do it, so the state under 8.2 says it's within our purview to look at it.
Yeah.
Ledge Light doesn't look at it. So if we don't look at it,
Whether
nobody
the
does.
property that's being reviewed for development can have its own water supply. It's not the impact on others, nobody's arguing about that, but about its own, whether it can produce its own water. We're not gonna be able to.
But our job is to be looking and saying, like, could it impact the neighbors?
Yeah, but how, well.
That's why
And
we should be
remember,
asking Ledge Light to give us that information ahead
This
of
is-
time and pushing them to do their job the way they should be doing it.
this is only gonna come to you on special permits and site plans, right? I mean, ultimately, 90% of
yes.
what happens in town, more than 90% of what happens in town, never comes to you.
Right.
And therefore, you're only gonna be reviewing these things in the relatively small situations where you have an application that reaches your desk.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
so-
why do they come to us for special permits? Because they have a high impact. Special permits are things that have high impact, and we should be looking at them more closely.
I've already noted that we're not taking it out now, but I'm just, be aware that even if you review it for these situations, there are gonna be many that are going to change the aquifer or whatever else that you'll never see, and we're just gonna have to assume that it's gonna be dealt with in some other capacity, so.
So that's if it's a strictly building permit, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That doesn't,
all of your residential uses, except in the gateway zone now, which is perhaps over 4,000 square feet, they're just strict, they're under just regular building permits. I review them for,
Because we don't do the subdivisions,
Yeah.
planning does the subdivision.
and you don't even have many of those anymore because there isn't much.
Everything's
land
already
left.
subdivided,
So-
unless they're doing re-subdivision.
So, again, the number of cases of this sort that you're going to see is not great. Again, you're getting more of them now because you have Gateway, and you're gonna get a lot more of them now because you have Kiam. Every new house that's in the Kiam district, which is most of your town, has to come to you folks now. You're gonna get a lot more Kiam applications.
So then,
We are gonna see more.
But your CAM only is
CAM is
part
not
of,
that.
is a limited review for whether it affects coastal resources.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna be reviewing it for well necessarily unless the well affects the coastal resource
Not
Or
the
the coastal resource impacts the well.
or the coastal resource.
Bingo.
So,
But that's different.
But, yeah,
Well, that's what the can.
we have, I mean, after Sandy, we had a whole bunch of those.
okay, so we've gotten to the end of that review. Now, you have a bunch of things that you'd like to talk about here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think everybody's got the appetite for that at this current moment.
Well, we have to start
We
sometime.
gotta get it done.
Dig in, buddy, dig in.
It's 8:30, we have
Go,
half an
let's
hour,
go.
so let's get,
So, but let's only talk about things that are technical, not substantive, because that's the next discussion. So have you,
Well, again, it's all substantial.
okay, well then, what?
All right.
let's,
Let her rip.
Let her rip.
So, my notes here.
Handout for the children?
No, sorry. So I guess some of these were new definitions and some of these were current,
so are we returning to the definition section, is that where we're heading here?
Yeah, because he made his
Okay, so then,
reservations.
let's go to Article
well, I'm not the only
24.
one on these lists, there's some other people that have stuff on here.
Okay, but right now, you seem to be ready to talk, so let's deal with you while you're ready to talk.
Yeah, so boat livery should be allowed, should this be allowed in the LI zone?
What section are we?
Well, now he's back to the use table,
Oh,
so
you
we're-
said, that's at the beginning. Very good, please, next time.
I was just going your order on your list.
Can you give us a reference?
yeah, can we get a section number here?
Looking at,
Okay. So,
Essentially, this is commercial.
Is it
Yes, five.
5?
Second 5, page 17. It starts. That's on the marked up version.
okay, so he's,
Are these all commercial, Mike?
It's all commercial, industrial, business stuff related.
All right, so that's,
So it kinda
that's
jumps
page
around.
18, 5.2.
Where am I? Boat livery. Should this be allowed? I guess did boat livery get defined? Is that?
one section at a time, Michael.
Yeah, no, I know that. That's what I'm-
Definitions, later uses now.
Section
Okay,
5.
this is section 5 use tables, we're looking at the use table. And it could be potentially in the LI zone.
Yeah, I was just reading it. Should this be allowed in LI zone? So right now we're at the use table, right?
Yep.
But what I'm asking is if it's gonna be in the zone, have we defined it?
Well, that's later on. So,
Okay.
you wanna talk
So
about?
yeah, I do think that if boat livery, I guess depending on its definition, but to me, it could be a place that stores boats. Let me just look at that. So it's the right concept.
Why would it be a place where you can store boats?
Well, because.
Are you talking in the water?
Yeah,
No.
it says, here, I'll read the definition. Would that help?
Yes, please.
A commercial establishment where boats, kayaks, canoes, or other watercrafts are rented out to the public for short-term use. A boat livery may include facilities for the storage, docking, or launching of watercraft, as well as accessory uses such as rental offices, repair services, and related equipment sales. This definition excludes marina operations that provide long-term docking, maintenance, or fueling services.
So an example would be like Black Hawk, right?
Yeah, but like, so also Black Hall has a rental space in the industrial park where they store and sell their vessels, right? Their
Okay.
kayaks and their stocking and stuff. So that's my concern, is just like making sure that we're not reducing water dependent uses opportunities, obviously in the waterfront zone, but in addition to areas that sometimes they can't contain all of their stuff within the waterfront zone. They have to look somewhere else in the town to be able to store excess
And
equipment.
you're saying that's the LI zone?
Well, I think they could be commercial and LI zone personally. I don't think that it should just be related to the
So
LI zone.
here-
but-
But
Here's the-
delivery has a retail aspect to it, does it not?
It can be.
It can, but it also said storage.
Right.
So, I mean, another way to look at it as a group is there a reason for us to not have boat livery in LI?
Or both liveries should be divided into two separate
Yeah, I think there
activities.
is, I mean, separation of the retail use from the industrial use
Right,
is
right.
why that district exists.
Right.
So you don't have the general public in and out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe you need two definitions.
So,
boat
well,
livery
well-
doesn't cover all the whole global possibilities of what you're gonna do.
Well, like presently there is in the industrial zone on Button Ball, there is some retail in and out of there. I don't know if that was part of their permitted uses, right? Like,
It's not an industrial.
Is that-
yeah, there's an industrial zone that might, and now it's been rezoned, but it's an industrial zone where Ron Sweeney's, right along the Amtrak line, where Wilcox Tree is, generators on demand, there's
That's
a
LI.
whole bunch of,
I don't think so.
I think that's a
Let's
C.
let's see what they look
I
like.
think that's C.
no, it's not.
Well,
Let's-
we can
If I
figure
want
this
a
out.
map.
Get the map up.
Example,
So,
perfect
just in
example.
terms of the definition, it says, that if they're, canoes, boats, are rented out to the public for short-term use, period. That's the primary definition. Then it says the boat livery may include, as part of the rental business, may include facilities for storage, docking, and launching.
Right, and I wouldn't object to the storage part happening in the industrial part, but I
Right.
would object to the retail part.
Looks like if somebody wanted to store boats on trailers, like, cause right now the way these regs were proposed, storage of a trailer in the waterfront zone was not permissible, which is a problem, right? So, you gotta have other places for people to store things.
Okay.
What's that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so how
Yeah.
about recommending to our,
I'm not sure.
our drafter guy that he make a separate section for boat storage? Because we definitely have that going on in town, and that was
And that should
those
be
big
only in
things that
LI.
they were gonna put down along Route 156 started out
Only
as
in
boat
LI.
storage.
Otherwise, you'll be seeing all for commercial.
Yeah.
It's also consistent with the whole storage.
Right.
Yeah, but there's already a boatyard in the commercial, there's already existing.
These are new regulations.
Okay.
Yeah,
It won't impact what's
So
already
if we
there.
don't want another one,
Right.
No, yeah.
So the storage, if it's limited to storage,
Yeah.
I would be in favor of it happening in the LI
But
zone.
the problem is the restrictions we put on storage vessels in the LIA zone is restrictive, so restrictive you can't park in the boat in the LIA zone.
If it says we can, we can.
Well, right now the storage regulations say we can't.
All right, well, then you have to fix that.
And we changed that.
You have to fix everything. If you're gonna make
so,
a change, you gotta fix all the things. That's your
Right.
homework, is to find out where, if you want that activity to be permitted in the LI zone, then you have to take the global thing to put it there.
How's that?
and I have no problem with that. So what I'd love to have is for you to, draft what you would like to see and bring it to us when we're in phase 2. Because we can't change this in phase 1.
Well,
That's
here's the
not-
problem,
this
we're
isn't a
introducing
technical
this though in phase 1. Those words and those terms are being introduced right now in
But I
this
don't
phase.
we already,
So if we're gonna introduce it, we have no choice but to work with the introduction, or we're gonna save those definitions to be introduced in phase 2.
That's
Or
what we
re-
have
or-
to do
or
in phase
revisit
two
it
if
in
it's a
phase
whole
two.
new use.
Yeah, but, so,
okay, and I appreciate that. So that's what he's saying. He's saying boat livery is a new term. He
every
doesn't
term,
like that term, so if we're gonna put it in, should we wait to phase 2 or we can really get into it? Because it sounds like it's bigger than just putting a definition in.
well, that's my concern, is a lot of these words are new definitions and new terms, which have consequence to them. Regardless if they're in phase 1 or 2. So, we park these things because they're now being introduced in phase 1. And the reason we're parking and discussing them is because they're gonna make their material changes. to
no, we
people's property.
recognize that.
Yeah.
And now, again, kind of same thing. So like, let's start, what are we gonna do about it?
Yeah, no, that's why I think I'm here discussing,
So
right?
I think that's what Denise is saying. So do we pull it out of the technical piece and do the definition in the next phase?
So that would mean that we're not implementing any of these definitions.
No, because they're not all new.
I'm saying any ones that are new.
Well, I think you need to go through them one by one, because I don't think it's.
So all of the blue, new definition, not in current regulations. So that's the thing with all the definitions, and Mike is making a good point. It's like, should we be adding in, as part of the technical review, should we be adding in all of the blue definitions that are new, because these are all new.
Did we
applies
put
to
these,
on this
did we
page.
put these in as new, or are they?
No, he did.
If it was to close a gap, let's say that a definition was needed in the original regs, and there's a use to match with it. So if there was a use that required a definition, I could see that spawning.
The problem I'm concerned about is that by
A
introducing
new
the
definition.
words, new things might fall under the definition, right? Whereas
Yeah,
they're not right now.
and that's where we kind of went through and said which ones we were comfortable with, but which ones we needed to, park. And that's where I'm looking at, if we really need to park these, and maybe we just need to, go through some of them again. It's like, which ones are we okay, comfortable with moving forward? They might need a little tweak, and not that like we can't fix things in the next round. But if they're definitely something where, like this boat livery thing, is it something that we should just say, like, this is a bigger discussion? Because do we really want to have this discussion in a public hearing?
Anything, did he?
Oh, he added new definitions, absolutely he did.
Yeah, no, it's right.
But it was a playoff off of what was already there, right?
Well,
No.
not always, no.
Okay.
I think he added definitions where he felt your regulations had uses without definitions.
Yeah, if there was a.
I remember that now.
It had to be
Yeah.
anchored in an existing
Yeah.
use.
But that was my concern, is that it's now changing the optics of the regulations by introducing new languages that haven't been really.
I mean, right now we've had the regulations without the definition.
Right.
This is.
We could go on without the definition like we have for a
Yeah,
while.
so if you put
until we
your-
get into
your
phase
SE
two.
So I guess it's debatable whether filling a gap where we have a use that requires a definition
That wasn't
is a technical fix or a.
Can I ask a dumb question? What is the
I'm
purple?
leaning towards the former.
No, wait, but here's my question.
It's a technical fix because it's a.
What's,
Yeah.
what's the purple font?
Yeah, I got
Purple. There's blue. In the latest version, there's red, there's black,
No, I know.
there's blue, and there's purple.
I wonder if the assessor's card still says LA80.
Tell me a section with that purple.
Yeah.
Page 210.
I know too.
In the, I'm in the
First time I
definitions.
noticed it, maybe, and
Yeah,
maybe I didn't notice it.
It's all in the
before, but yeah.
definitions. The definitions is full of purple.
Purple it is. Like, just in that
So,
close
Eric,
Yes.
what is purple now in the definitions? Because we know what black and red and blue are, but now everything, there's a whole bunch of stuff in purple.
But I don't see any blue in the
I
definitions
was
now.
gonna ask, is
Yeah,
that
there's
blue?
blue. There's a
There is-
blue.
there
So
is-
commercial, yeah.
Buffer.
I don't know.
Okay, so that might be something worth asking, because things like boat livery are purple.
So it says new, purple is new definition, not defined in current regulations, so did he just use that instead of
So
blue?
That sounds like that,
Yeah.
That's
Maybe in the
helpful.
new, maybe in the new it's purple instead of blue.
Yeah.
But you said there's blue also. Maybe they just didn't get.
I only see one, buffer.
Maybe they just
blue.
didn't change it.
Like,
Oh, you know what? He changed it because we said we couldn't see the blue.
He said, you guys both
I
did
just
change.
remembered. We said change the color.
So if we
We have to get
say,
something so darn
Okay,
close to
I'm not-
blue.
so I just,
That explains.
so if we, that's what I thought, but I just didn't wanna, so
Yeah, there you go.
if
were-
we say, then we're gonna take these out, I mean, this is a lot that
It
we're
is.
taking out.
that was the reason we parked it, was for later discussion in that moment.
I
but
think we have to
I
do it
no
case by
problem. I
case.
don't think, I'm not trying to rush this, but I think it's important that we get it right.
Well,
We need to.
Well,
ask
some of them we
Francisco
didn't say fine. Some of them we were fine with.
Yeah,
No,
so I don't,
I've
I'd
got
be
'em all
uncomfortable
marked.
pulling them all out.
I missed what you were just saying, are you?
I said, I'm not sure we need to pull them all out.
Yeah, I mean, like one says the keeping of pets, and it's like the keeping of customary pet animals. It's like, I think we're okay.
It was more, for me, it was just more business related.
I think we should ask Francisco about these. Because I cannot believe all these new ones were added.
Not everything on this list is.
No, I understand that, but we're talking about the uses in general.
There was quite a bit.
Well, what is new versus a rewrite?
Yeah, we
Or-
have that. It's in color. He put it definitely.
Yeah, or,
If it's in black,
or
it's
use
in.
language that's more common.
Yeah, because this is what it says. If it's in black, it's the current definition. If it's in red, the definition has been modified from the current, so they just modified it.
So we need to
But
know
then
what
it says-
modified is.
Yeah, and then if it's in blue, now purple,
Purple.
that is a new definition, not in current regulations. So everything that was in blue, if you have one set of regs, but also now purple in in the updated regs, those are the ones that are all
So it's
new
either
definitions.
current, reworded, or new.
New.
So we need to get,
And we went through them and we, you know.
did.
We did. We went through
And what's
all
the
of
origin, what's the reason for the new? Is it to fill a gap in the existing
Well,
regulations?
yeah, that-
Or is
Yeah,
it,
in many
or
of
or
these
to
cases,
expand the definition.
or not?
Uses without definition.
There's a lot of purple in there.
And we didn't have too much problem with the zoning terminology definitions. There were just a couple that we said park, but in the use definitions, we had, you know, there was a few that, more than a few we started questioning. And saying, let's take it up next time.
Which was, yeah, the dairy bottlers, that's it.
That said, you know, I guess if it's getting so involved, I'm just saying, do we need public input, you know, rather than, this is my concern about doing something that has too much change in it, or adding definitions that could cause consternation, is that at the technical public hearing, we're gonna have people like really loading us up with stuff on these. So, and would it be better to pull it, you know, and talk, and hear from people so that when we're drafting that definition or whatever, we can put these out there.
Is there,
Makes sense to me.
is there a piece of that, at the same time, I'm just trying to think if people are like, why aren't there definitions in here for X, Y, Z? That we can also at the same time communicate, there's also a list of regulation, or excuse me, use definitions that aren't included in the current regulations that need to be considered
Yeah,
in an updated version. And that is something that we will be going through. Because I think just pulling them all out, no, I shouldn't say just pulling them all out.
In this particular case, I just went back to the current regs, and boat livery is used, but there's no definition for it
Right,
under WF 20.
right.
So that definition
yeah.
is
So
coming
maybe
in,
he
so-
had the
and,
definition.
that's what he basically said. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you put a definition in because the
There was
term is
no-
used,
Term
but
is
there's no,
used, but
there's
it's
no
not-
There you go.
definition
So
for
it's
what
not
it
a
is.
new,
So it's not invented.
it's not
So then that's-
invented.
then
Yeah, but
that's
the
a
definition
simple-
isn't
the
invented.
definition is coming from somewhere.
Right, I
Right,
mean,
there's
he's
a-
probably taking it from best practices.
Right.
Yes, but I guess the point
But-
is, do we want to continue to have a term that is undefined, that is still being in the regulations? He is basically saying, if it's in your use table, there should be a definition for it.
Yes.
And that's the,
agree
te-
with
and that's,
that.
and that's
We
kind
agree
of,
with that.
and
Okay.
that's kind of the
The
technical.
There we go.
question
Now
is
we're
it in the
Yeah.
technical phase or the substantive phase that we come
Okay.
up with a new
So I
definition?
think we could debate what the definition is, but not that it exists.
Okay, well, it is now about 9 o'clock, we're getting up.
Yeah, we're gonna-
9 o'clock.
yeah.
So, what do you want me to say on this, if anything, right now, or is this something we still need to keep debating?
Yeah, I think this
More
is,
debate.
I think that the LI adding that boat livery to LI is an expansion. And so that comes to stage 2.
Stage 2.
The definition is not really an expansion. He was just asking if this is the definition, why can't I do it in LI, right?
No, yeah, that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you're asking.
No, the definition excludes marine operations that provide long-term docking. Well, I also provide short-term docking, so is it not boat livery now because I provide short-term docking? I just don't.
Remember, Michael, anything you're doing now,
Yes, I
I think Jane
understand.
You get to keep
explained it
doing it.
very
Yeah.
well.
so you will not lose any rights, no matter what this regulation says.
I know me, but the marinas are changing hands actively, right? So
No,
it doesn't matter.
Runs with the land,
Even when they change hands.
Okay.
okay? It's only if they try and put a marina in someplace else in town.
Well, commercial, I still have this other list of stuff, so I appreciate that dialogue that we just had. Commercial,
Well, maybe you could think about it, because this is not the last time we're gonna do this.
No, it's fine.
That if you park these things, now we're gonna hold you to a higher standard, so that we don't want you to come back and say, well, why can't I put it in a new zone? We want you to look at the definition and say whether the definition is adequate for the purposes of being a definition. Then you can think about whether you're gonna put something in a new zone in the second section.
Okay.
And you may get the response with that is that, well, we'll put boat storage in LI, but we're not putting retail sales. And that'll be a new definition, we'll have to come up. Or something like that,
And when you think about it,
but as you think about it.
I'd like you to think about it from an industry-wide standpoint, not just from your standpoint.
Oh, for sure, and I do, so
Okay.
that's important, because
That's very, very important.
And why I think that's important is because I'm not, like, the marina that I own is, I have several other businesses that have so many other aspects of these regulations that I'm concerned about, for not just me, but other people within the community.
Within the community, that's what you want to keep to, within the
That's what I'm
community.
getting at, in the community.
Right.
These ones are specific to me right now, but I have a whole list of other things that are in the community that are unrelated to me that are also things that people might need to know about. Like commercial services isn't a defined thing. So to me, commercial service could be someone who's an electrician in the commercial zone, but commercial service is only allowed in the industrial zone. So that's what I'm worried about.
But that means you got to do your homework.
I know,
Right.
I did a lot of it, but I need help a little bit.
And you can't guess what the industry might want. You need to really get facts to say, when you come to
Hold
us.
on. This is like putting a lot, if we're already agreeing that these
Right.
definitions, like this is a substantive thing, I don't think it's entirely fair to put it all on Barnes to do all this.
Well, no, he's got to bring.
But I think we can at least say, that's a phase 2.
Right,
Right.
And we could get.
See,
Right.
Leo's got a handout, but he's not handing it.
No, these are these are like 10.
No, I mean, I think what would be, well, I'm just saying, like, everyone's agreeing he's bringing up valid points, and everyone's agreeing that this is, like, we need to maybe rethink how we're doing this. So, what's a way to do this that isn't like, Barnes, go home and I mean, because I don't know, how long is your list? Like 30?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is to look at the changes. And that if we had a definition, if we had a term but no definition, he brought that one in, okay?
Who's he? Francisco.
Francisco.
Yeah.
Okay, but then if it's brand new,
So
that's phase 2.
Well, for instance, in this case, for instance,
But then-
it's retrofitting.
then that's-
definitions under review.
Yeah,
We have
then-
23 definitions under review. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Principal uses under review. We have 8 of those. So like these are accessory uses under review. Like we have our accessory apartment presently only in the RU 80, accessory buildings, garage, private garages, trucks and trailers, occupations.
But wait, so if we're saying we're going to take all the new definitions that Francisco came up with and park that for phase 2, no?
I'm not saying that.
Yeah, I'm not saying
No,
that.
no,
I just
no,
don't-
no.
I don't know how to handle this because to me it's all substantive, right? Because these are new definitions.
So what I guess what we're looking at,
I know.
is there anything definition-wise that we can say like, okay, the definition is okay, but then how it's used in a zone? Because once we get into changing the zones, that's different. That really, right now we're trying to fit definitions. And
Well, like,
so
how
I'm
would you-
looking at,
I'm comfortable that if
Follow works. How would you handle what your concern was with bottling of milk? If you recall.
I think it should be allowed in the farm, because I know it likes that in the farms.
But how would you relate it to this conversation right now?
phase 2.
But no, it's not in phase 2, it's in phase 1.
That's what I'm saying. So do we
that's-
pull out all the new definitions that we have an issue with? And before we start having Michael try to reframe it all, why don't we narrow his list down to the ones that we actually are going to address in phase 1?
I'm not opposed to that.
I think there's daylight between a brand new definition that is
Right.
not tied to an existing use,
Right.
and a definition that Francisco did create, but created it because
Because
That-
there was, we had
It's
that,
invoked in an existing use
right,
And we
and
just
without a
didn't
definition.
have it
So it's
done.
and we
actually
didn't have a
correct.
definition.
So we
It's
modify
only
and
gap.
look at those definitions.
Yeah, so I think that's
How
one,
many of those definitions are there though?
There's
well,
probably,
boat livery is one of them.
Well,
Many of them.
boat livery, commercial services, accessory buildings,
Because boat livery
garages.
appears in a
Right, so I'm talking
WF
about
twenty
the
use
purple,
in the
so the
current.
purple ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm literally saying, all the purple ones. We're
But
saying
there
the
are a
exact
lot,
same thing.
yeah, but it's not all, because some of the purple ones are.
Right.
But I don't
And
think
that's
all of
what I-
them are phase two, and I don't think we eliminate all of them, we gotta take them
I'm not
case by
saying
case.
eliminate, I'm not
Can
saying
Francisco
eliminate.
take this and tell us what's purely new out of all of it? I mean, I know we can kind of see,
I'll talk it over with him, I'm not
I think you
sure.
just go through it from the beginning.
or we go through it.
I feel like we just need to start from A and go.
Go through and then we'll be prepared to
Yeah.
track it back to the current regs.
And,
and
and,
see
and so
where
we're
it come
gonna
from.
go
We
through
just have
it
to make
based
a
on
decision,
color?
phase one, phase two.
We're gonna go on color, based on color?
Yeah.
No, she's saying phase one, phase two.
Well,
Based
well,
on the purple ones.
purple ones,
Yes,
okay.
that's exactly what I was
Okay.
saying.
I
We
think
just
we're
said-
all saying the same thing.
So let's,
Yeah.
let's go through the purple ones.
So, and all I'm saying is before we have him start dissecting it, let's go through the purple ones as a group and decide which ones we're gonna put in phase one and phase two.
Yeah.
So
And then he can go back, because that's gonna be a smaller number for him.
it is now 8:59. So the question is, when do you want to do that?
So that he can keep moving us forward, because we're gonna we have to have a special meeting, that's gonna take a while.
Next workshop.
Next workshop, one more.
That's why I'm
Not one
asking.
more, just the next one, because there'll be a lot more.
I know. Well, it's fine.
But I think
What do we
we're
have
doing
on the
we're
docket
doing
for
a
the
good
regular
job, I
meeting?
think, if we continue on this pace.
Michael,
At
well,
this
let's
point, you
run
have
around. Where's
exactly
that?
what you had last time, which is
Yeah, I mean, most of the
special
stuff he
permit for
wants
the
is
co- for the
substantial.
country club.
Michael, where's that
We'll,
other,
we'll try to start
Eyes on
addressing
it.
it at the next
It's
meeting.
non-existent.
it's,
It's been eliminated.
it's been,
Well,
it's done?
2008.
Okay, good.
We'll,
So
we'll
I
tell you
got the
what,
GIS open, I'm looking
Okay, guys,
for
at
it.
the
One at a
next
time.
meeting, we'll start this, and that's the November 10th meeting.
Okay, but do you want to set now a special meeting date so I can try and reserve a room for you?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure,
So we're meeting the next time, the next meeting's the 10th.
10th.
No. Wasn't paying that much attention.
Can we do that?
That's our next regularly scheduled one.
That is your next regularly
So we're
scheduled.
trying to find a,
You can find a meeting before or after that, I don't care, but at this point, you have a regularly scheduled meeting for November 10th.
Boy, I'm pretty packed.
That's a Monday, right?
It is the Monday before Veterans Day.
Yeah, I start clearing up. Oh, November 10th, where's the second surgery, doctor?
What about Thursday?
the 13th.
I'm saying, I'm starting in October.
Oh, you're still not, like,
23rd. This week, Thursday.
Day after tomorrow.
Nope, not gonna.
Okay.
I refuse.
Okay, all right then. All right.
That's too many.
This week and next week, I can't, but you guys can.
Okay, all right, that's fair, that's fine. I'm just starting at the beginning. Okay, that brings us to the week of the 3rd.
or the week of the 26th.
No, I just heard
Can't do
that's
that.
not possible.
Oh, I apologize.
Yeah.
I thought you said, but you guys can go ahead, that's why.
At
You
this
could-
point,
you
I
could
feel
do
like
anything
I need
without
to be
me.
in
Go
November,
right ahead.
honestly. I don't know if that's a problem for anyone there.
Well, since you're the driver force.
Yeah, it's 10 days.
All right, so the week of the 3rd.
Alright, so I'm traveling. I'm traveling. I think it's just the 6th to the 9th. Let's see.
When did you say you're traveling, Mike?
I think the 6th to the 9th, I'll confirm it right now.
Yeah, I want you all to know that the month of February, the entire month of February, I'm gonna be in China.
What?
Ooh.
I won't have any internet communications or anything.
Oh, good for you.
Practicing
That's much
law?
deserved.
And so everything in this whole world is just gonna have to stop while I go. There will
We'll
be
try-
no real
we'll come
estate
with it.
closings, no wills drafted, no.
Where are you gonna be?
No one can die.
China?
My daughter-in-law is Chinese, so she's taking me to her house.
That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
That is amazing.
That is the best way to travel.
That's the only
Well,
way to
let's
do
really
it.
pack it
I've
in
been
then,
studying
come on,
Chinese
come on,
for 3
people.
years.
Pick a
Wow.
date.
Do we have any meetings between the 5th and the 9th? No, we don't, 'cause it's the 10th, that's the first meeting in November.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's my only block off days is the 5th and the 9th. As far as traveling,
The 5th and 9th.
which is a Wednesday then.
Well, you can't do it the 4th, I don't think, that's election day, or the 3rd?
no, that wouldn't be good.
No. It's gonna have to be after our meeting.
Traveling on the 6th.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay, so that puts us into next week.
so if we don't
I'm
want,
traveling the 5th, yes.
2 on 1 week is a lot, so why don't we go to the 7th? I mean, I can do it some other night, but why don't we do it the 17th?
But they're two very different meetings.
I'm game.
Yeah, it's just a matter of if anybody who has to get out of work early or whatever.
Yeah,
That's
I
me,
like
but
it better than
Twice.
once a week.
Twice in 1 week.
Twice in 1 week is a little rough.
Okay, all right, so we're at the
She
17th.
said that.
17th sounds good. Everybody?
Sounds good.
17th?
6:30.
not the 20th.
Okay,
17th.
17th, book it quick.
17th is perfect.
Sold.
It's in there, it's in my calendar, it's perfect,
Done.
done. Once it's in there.
It doesn't erase.
Eric just has to find us a yurt to practice in.
Well, by then, the election will be over, but we'll have to see what else we have for rooms.
Unless there's recount.
I actually like this room. It's a nice room. It's the old, my old library in here.
Yeah, this is a beautiful room.
Yeah, it is. So he's
Really?
And if
boxcar
it's
shape.
just the commission, we could probably get the room, but if you need space for, obviously, people to come and watch, less useful, so.
Well, if you put on there definitions, no one's gonna wanna come to see it.
Yeah, put that in
You
there.
might be surprised, actually.
Before you come, listen to the recording of the last one.
Just the purple definition.
Just the purple definition.
6:30 to 9? Done.
Thank you, everybody, for your effort and cookies.
Okay, now we can ask for a motion to adjourn.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Second by Mary Jo, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, 9:05.